Thank you very much, guys, for that great analysis. We've got a cracking game coming your way. I'm joined by Lurpus. I'm Tosspot, of course. And Lurpus, got to ask you, with 30 seconds till this game starts, money where your mouth is. Who's going to take it and why?
Verygames, because they're the better team overall. Though, one thing to point out is Scream has had a very poor tournament so far. I actually looked at stats, and he's sporting something like a 0.53 FPR, which means he's averaging 1 kill every 2 rounds. And usually, he's one of the best in the world at that. So he's basically getting about 3 to 4 kills less per round. I mean, per 10 rounds than average.
Normally.
So basically, every half of this tournament, he gets 6 less kills or 7 less kills than on average throughout his career. That's a big problem.
How much of the complexity result can we read into this? Was complexity playing particularly well, or Verygames playing particularly badly?
I think it's a little bit of both.
So we're going to see a map that's not called Inferno. I'm new to it. I've never heard of this map called Dust 2. I've only seen it. No, I'm kidding. So Dust 2 to kick us off. Nice to have a little bit of variety in our life, and we're going to enjoy that as we get straight into this one. On the pistol on the T side will be Copenhagen Wolves, who will be coming in full of confidence from their game against Astana. And we'll see what they've got to offer here as the T side make their way down towards mid. Nico's gone straight through the double doors there, and MBK did spot someone coming up along catwalk, but won't have seen the 3 players going through mid. The smoke will have helped, and those 3 going to make a move in towards B. They open up the fragging. It's going to be Smith that goes down as they push forward now. Dupree has frag number 1. It's not going to be followed up with frag number 2, though. MBK comes in, and bomb goes down for the T side, who quickly escape, and you can see Nico is way out there, and they'll happily bait 2 players into the tunnels and then massacre them. A frag apiece here. Fetish going to see action now coming through the top, and this is going to be surely round number 1, maybe 2. Copenhagen Wolves, the last man standing is Scream. He's won against a firing squad, and it's done. Copenhagen Wolves, round number 1.
It's a nice round by Copenhagen Wolves. They simply just went out of middle and took over the B bomb side fairly easily. Verygames had a bit of an unlucky strategy themselves to counter that, but good call by Copenhagen Wolves. And I mean, once they got set up in that bomb site, there was almost no way Verygames were able to retake it. They had such a good crossfire in the B tunnels, and like you said, it was a massacre.
We've seen a lot, of course, of Verygames over the years. For you, what's your opinion on Copenhagen Wolves? Who do you like?
I think Nico's the start of the team, but like we said so many times during the last few days, I mean, these guys went through roster changes very recently, so it's still a little too early to just kind of say how good they are. We don't really know their ceiling yet.
We saw what roster changes did to SK. I cast that game against Reason, and boy, oh boy, there isn't a polite word for how bad that was for SK.
Yeah, that was no good. Luckily, I did not see it, but I heard the result, and I was shocked.
Verygames have coming through the smoke 4 Danes who open up, and Smith will go down. And Scream will say no more. 3 frags coming in for Verygames. They've taken out Device almost as well. He will get 1 kill before going out, and this is going to be return fire from Verygames. 1-1, and guns for the 2 who get out of there.
Yeah, and 2 kills for both. Scream, whom I just said has had a lot of problems this tournament, and Existence, who actually is one of the top 5 pistol players this tournament, which is very, very different than what he usually does for the team. So he's had a good tournament so far, and very nice win by Verygames, who seem to be winning quite a lot of second rounds after last pistol rounds.
Now, talking with Fetish earlier, he said there's really no love lost between, or there's really no issue between him and Existence, but we'd love to see a bit of a rivalry as Smith massacres them with the FAMAS going in towards that B tunnel. There's Dupree with frag number 1 for Copenhagen Wolves, but that's going to be all they got. And it'll be 2-1 for Verygames. Remember, best of 3. If you've been watching through the group stages and seen only best of 1, we've got 3 maps to contend with here. And Copenhagen Wolves, as Thorin said, will be more than chuffed to have got themselves Dust 2 as their starting game. But they're going to have to do something different now. We can't exchange rounds. This is exactly how Verygames Complexity started.
Yeah, this is a bad way to start, especially because Copenhagen Wolves are playing on the much easier side of the map. Although they had 2 different players, Copenhagen Wolves actually came back from a 2-13 deficit against NIP to win 16-14 about a month ago at EMS1 Finals as Fetish goes down at the hand of the Smiths. And that's especially bad for the Danes because Fetish is the in-game leader of their team, so that might affect how they play this round.
Scream's going to push up with that smoke. And Dupree on the other side has dropped Existence. And here goes Scream. He lands the frag and will get it onto... so Dupree's going to come across to the catwalk there. And I tell you what, if Copenhagen Wolves side seem a little bit lost with that frag coming in on B, they didn't... I think they were going to use Dupree to just bait A, and now he's going to have to fall back and get into the fight, which is going to come through the mid-double gates. Verygames can, with a man advantage, just sit back and say, come at me, boys.
Yep, and that is exactly what they're doing. They know there's no reason for them to take risks. Dupree hits a nice headshot on NBK. There's still Shoxy hiding in the site.
Yeah, they didn't know it, and Shox opens up. Oh! Quickly shut down, though. Nico's going to get the bomb, money in the bank, and it's a 2-on-2 now after plant. Suddenly, the tables have turned, and Scream's going to come walking in through the smoke as the two players on that bomb are both retreated up towards it. And Verygames are going to sandwich it from right and left, and it's going to be Smith who opens fire first. Nico picked off. Now Device gets himself into a 1v1, having dispatched of Scream, and it's him versus Smith for the plant, neither with full health. It'll be a first to see him wins. Here is Smith jumps up around the corner. Nico knows where he is and can't get him. And those could be the moments that define this game.
They very well could, and I mean, they likely will. That was another big clutch by Verygames, and they just seem to be winning these close rounds. I mean, the save round they won, somewhat close, but sort of the same thing. Even earlier today, it seems like Verygames are just getting the close rounds, aside from the COL game, where obviously the Americans just came out on top.
A lot of American love.
Well, I got to give him credit.
What's interesting is, in that round, Copenhagen Wolves came back from a 2-on-4. They were down on that one. Once they got that bomb plant, or just as they were entering that A site. But anyway, we're going to see some action here, and it's going to be Scream getting free frags galore. 3 men down in the B tunnel. Smith has been added himself a frag, and Nico, last man standing, is going to be as much of a nuisance as he can, but
that's not going to be a whole lot with a P250 against Smith's M4. And that makes it 4-1 for Verygames early on the counter-terrorist side. And considering they started by losing the pistol round, that's a very, very strong start.
Okay, it's gotten quiet in this one for Copenhagen Wolves as well. We're very vocal having won that one round, but now all quiet down there. The Verygames side, naturally French, they're quiet. They'll only kick up a fuss when you kick them. And we see Verygames putting Shoxy down on long A. Now, putting Shox down on long A, is that a gift or a curse? Because you isolate one of the best players all the way potentially on the other side of the map.
I think it's good because it's probably going to shut down that part of the map.
That's the gift.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But at the same time, if Copenhagen Wolves keep attacking other spots, he's not going to see much action there until the retake portion of the round.
We're about to see him in action here. Device lying in wait for him. Flashed and retreats back.
And it's actually a bad position for Verygames because now both Shox and Existence are stuck on top of the A site. So if Copenhagen Wolves choose to attack A, they're just going to wrap all around them, and they're just going to be stuck in the middle. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Shoxy here.
Shox falling back in towards that site, but he's a man that can. As the Wolves begin their assault in, and there's Dupree picking off Shox, get that first frag, and this could clear out. Dupree says, I'll have one more, and it's only Screams and MBK left standing against 5 Danes. And Dupree can't spy anyone because they're getting out of there. Scream has dropped Fetish, but he's the only man standing, and he will just look for exit frags as he makes his way up towards B. 4-2 this will be, Copenhagen Wolves stop the rot.
Yep, the Scream is trying to connect on Zipnik's not going to happen. Copenhagen Wolves win a very convincing round there. Four members of their team survive. Nico gets to keep this up. And that's just a very good round to win for Copenhagen Wolves, because now we always talk about the money system. And now even if they were to lose this round, they would still have money to buy. So it takes some of the pressure off from this round. And for their sake, I hope they can just get going now and start stringing together some rounds, because you really don't want to give Verygames too many rounds on the easier side of the harder side of the map, excuse me.
Orb comes down from Nico right as Smith was trying to line up his own shot, and Copenhagen Wolves set the agenda for this one. Existence has the auto sniper to try and level the playing field, though, as he will be over on the other side of the map, but Copenhagen Wolves with a bit of wind in their sails. Let's see whether they can convert that into a third round of the game for them. Existence Auto Sniper does take care of Long A though, and you can pretty much just sit and fire on in towards those double doors and be quite happy. And that's what they've done. They've left the rest of the players up at A. Copenhagen Wolves do like going A. They've won 2 rounds, one of which was in A. The other was a pistol push through mid up towards B. And Shox is in those double doors. Rotating his positions quite a lot, actually. Last round out, he was in long A. And Zipnix is...
it actually looks like Copenhagen Wolves will choose to attack the B bomb site. Whether that's through middle or through the B tunnels, that's still unknown. But they will be attacking the B bomb site once Nico has faked A. Looks like Nico's also going for a peek here. We'll see if he's going to see Existence or if the Belgian in-game leader is just going to fall back far enough that he's not going to get spotted.
Fetish picks himself up the frag onto B, and that should open it up for them. They're going to move the bomb in any second now. It's on the site, and here goes Shox to try and retake. As he pushes in, he has 2 players for company. Make that 1 player for company, and now it'll be him and Existence to hold on. And Shox decides even he can't pull this one off. And Existence retreats. Shox just going to do as much aggravation as he can to try and keep them in that site. And will go down in the end to Dupree, picking his head over the wall and getting himself the kill. There's that auto sniper though, finishing things off. So second round in a row for Copenhagen Wolves. They're making sure that this is still a contest.
Ooh. Yep, Existence trying to save that up. I mean, the auto sniper, we'll see if Nico's still going to jump in.
Yeah, I don't think he feels so confident now.
No, not anymore. Oh, Zipnix was so close to still killing Existence through the middle. That was basically 1 more second, or if he just hit that first shot, he would have been able to take him out. So,
if you've never played CS, why is it so important to lock out someone with an auto sniper at the end of the round? Talk to me. Explain to me like I'm 5.
Well, I mean, you just don't want him to have that auto sniper in this round because Verygames are otherwise saving. No one else on that team has purchased anything. So if Existence has an auto sniper, especially considering how strong that weapon is, he can actually all by himself turn this round around in Verygames' favor.
Let's see whether he's going to do this because he's going to see some action. Good nade forces him back, and they just got 1 player down in long A. I thought they were going to leave him in there actually, but they didn't. Scream on the other side of the map has got himself a frag. The Copenhagen Wolves are down 2 men here on what is a save round. This has not gone the way of the Wolves. As Nico sits in long A, looking for Existence, going to usher in the rest of the players here, and Existence just falling back a little bit will nullify the positioning of that AWP, but Fetish's headshot will help things out as well. Shox hasn't been able to get going here on Dust, has been picked off, and we're on to a 3 versus 3. 5 weapons in play.
Scream has picked up an AK, obviously. And this could actually be very dangerous for Copenhagen Wolves. Verygames have 3 people defending the area where they're going to be attacking, but Scream just rotates at the wrong time. See what Existence can do here and gets taken out.
Oh, what a shot from Nico! Sorry to interrupt, but a beautiful hit. He's not able to follow that up with a second one. He's getting pinned down in that bomb site, but that auto sniper was about to nullify the bomb carrier. And
that was another sick shot there by NBK.
It's all on Nico, and he does deliver with the help of Fetish. The round, and Copenhagen Wolves was pricey for them, but they got there in the end.
Yeah, that was just, I mean, but that's a perfect example of why you want to take that auto sniper out of Existence's hands, because all of a sudden you go from getting a winning anti-eco round where you're not supposed to lose a single player or like 1 at most. You go from there to actually having to fight for a round. You're down to just 2 people yourself, and that also hurts Copenhagen Wolves' money situation. If they were to start losing rounds now, they might potentially have to save a lot sooner than they would have otherwise.
AWP on AWP here as Smiths has one for the Franco-Belgian side as Dupree will push up. And Spy, nothing. Copenhagen Wolves, very patient move is here on Dust 2. We've not seen anything really quick or aggressive from them. They watch every alley. They make no mistakes as a result. The strat is played to the book. And it'll be Dupree that thinks about going up, but doesn't. Flashes go in. Dupree now is... well, they are committed to coming along here as Nico will move that bomb site up along that catwalk. Device is the man who's covering the back from long A. And here we go with Copenhagen Wolves ready to make their move. Dupree now will get his eyes through the smoke and see nothing at that A site. All the Verygames players were down on the bottom level. They've now come back. Debris will have told them that. And here we go. It shocks at long A to get some action. Debris has finally made an entry. Existence down to 10 HP after that grenade and will have to fall back. He gets picked off in the end by Zipnix. Nico, the AWP is out. Verygames have their second frag on the board as MBK combined, and it'll be Dupree to have to go big here on this round, and he's not going to. MBK's got his number, and Device is the last man standing and isn't standing anymore. MBK, big round then, picked up I think 4 frags.
Yeah, not only were those did he get 4 frags, but the fashion in which he got those 4 frags was very impressive. He was playing in a very tough spot by the CT spawn ramp where you can only see the very tip of the head of the terrorist coming into the site. He got 2 kills there, and then he had to peek the AK player on top of the A side with just his P2000. He still managed to take him out. Very impressive play by NBK there.
5-4 Verygames lead against Copenhagen Wolves here on Dust 2 in the best out of 3 round of 8. Smiths pushes into the B tunnel, gets himself the kill on the Fetish, shuts down that in-game leader, and sets the agenda for Verygames to follow up with Shox' famous headshot onto Device.
Dupree replies there through the door, Scream doing a lot of damage. And it's a 4v3 right now. Smith's very low on health, but advantage still on the side of Verygames.
They're going to leave that bomb in the B tunnels, and we just see Nico. Oh, Shox coming around from the back with that AK, gets Hypnix, and beautiful position now for Verygames. They do have that AWP to contend with. If they can get the frag onto Smiths, then that would open up the B site, but they've in fact come back towards double doors with that bomb. But you feel Nico's going to have the round of his life here. And they're going to run out of time soon if he doesn't move quickly.
I think they're going to walk out of middle doors. Dupree's going to be looking towards B, and Nico's going to try to pick the player spotting middle from A, and I think it's going to be Existence. Nico will likely be able to get that pick too if Existence just peeks him, but it looks like he's actually in hiding now, so that's going to work out well for Verygames. And
Scream was watching down
might
there.
get picked, but I think he's spotted the terrorist now in the middle, so it's going to be hard for Copenhagen Wolves to get through into the site.
Oh, no scope. Lovely
nice
stuff from Nico. Going big. Dupree's in the site. He's got to go in there as well. He does. He's putting the bomb down, coming through the double doors any second now. Will be some angry Frenchman as Dupree makes his way back. He's between a rock and a very hard place, and he comes out fighting. But he can't quite get the final frag. Existence will do it, and Verygames, after picking up a kit, surely.
Existence looking for that op, I believe, since he already has a kit. I would assume, no?
Does have a kit. I'm trying to work out what he was doing.
I think he was looking for an op. There we go.
Here's that no-scope that just changed everything.
That was a really nice shot by Nico. Once more, I mean, he just had so many of those this tournament. He's such a good opper and just gets a lot of those tough kills. And, you know, that's, like you said round of his life, but he's such a good player. That's not even a round of his life. That's not even the round of the match. That's just another round.
I was saying he was going to have the round of his life had he won it.
Yeah.
Might even whipped out a sensational. You
Yeah,
never
but
know.
I mean, but that was actually really close. You know, the last 2 counter-terrorists almost lined up. Dupree was really close to taking out Existence as well.
There's that auto sniper, and Shox will mow them down as well. Say goodnight, Copenhagen Wolves. This is going to become 7-4. From your perspective, if you're the strat caller, or if you're Fetish at this moment in time, what are you saying to Copenhagen Wolves? How are you keeping them fired up? How are you motivating them?
I actually feel like they're a team that don't really get too down on themselves. I think they're pretty good about that. So I actually think they don't have a problem with that. They just need to keep working one round at a time. I mean, they've had a lot of close rounds. They just need to get on the better side of those.
See what they can change. What we've seen, though, is expensive weapons doing damage for Verygames. Seems simple, but the usage of that auto sniper has been... We'll just cut our thought there as Verygames get themselves an exchange of 2 for 1, and it's going to be Scream pushing back to try and reclaim that B site. As they go down, Scream's just going to have to wait for some reinforcements. The bomb is slowly moving towards the site. Reinforcements coming, in fact, for Verygames. Coming through the tunnels will be number 4. That's MBK, who's having a great game. And Shox picks off the bomb carrier with that grenade, and that leaves Fetish with a lot of work to do because he's only got Nico a long way away with that AWP. Nico comes in to help now, but he's too late. And Copenhagen Wolves lose another round.
Yeah, I mean, only so much you can do when Verygames are playing well. Obviously, there's always a couple of shots that could turn the round completely around. If someone hit a shot they maybe missed, things like that. But Verygames are just playing really good Counter-Strike right now. We see Scream chipping in. I think it's probably his best game so far in DreamHack, which is odd because he has been such a consistent player throughout his stay in Verygames. So, I mean, this is actually alarming for NIP because I was thinking earlier that if Scream has a really bad tournament and doesn't pick up, I actually think NIP would possibly even be favorites in the match because they really need his firepower to match that of Forest and Get Rights. But if Scream is already heating up now, that spells trouble for NIP.
Well, let's see whether they can pull it off. Verygames in the driving seat here on map 1. There's a save round in, not a save round, or a partial buy for Copenhagen Wolves, with only 3 left in the half, this being one of them. Smith picks himself up the frag onto Zipnik, and Verygames do lose Shox, who's struggled to make his usual phenomenal impact on this round. Device gets himself one, Fetish helps himself to another, and the Copenhagen Wolves are ready to roar. As here we go, 4 players on 2, bomb planted, Verygames coming from Catwalk, trying to open up the Copenhagen Wolves side here with just sure blunt tactics pushing in, and there's as blunt as it gets from Scream, but isn't going to be enough. Copenhagen Wolves pick up their 5th round of the game.
And they really needed that too. They really need to get back into the game at the end of the half, get a couple rounds here and there, maybe end up with 7, even 6, and then win the pistol round, and all of a sudden, once again, it's anyone's game. That's how quickly matches turn around in Counter-Strike.
So, 8-5 to Verygames. Nico unable to connect through the smoke, and Copenhagen Wolves will push 2 players in towards those B tunnels. There are 2 waiting for them from Verygames, and this is all lovely stuff until Shox says, you know what, I want to be big in this game. Smith's just kind of poke his head in towards B, doesn't see anything in those tunnels, and is going to get met by Fetish, but Fetish goes down at the hands of Scream, and Zipnix comes in, and 2 frags for Verygames, 2 very bold pushes from their AWPs, and it'll be MBK coming back through spawn now to try and make something happen for them. Scream with the AWP from Nico is going to hold down B as he lies in wait and gets himself another frag. It was onto Nico, sorry, I'm not sure where he got that one from, as it'll be MBK to come in on the Zipnix, and Copenhagen Wolves just running out of bodies now. 1 on 3 for Device. Knows there's someone there. He's going to get the first. No, he's not. MBK does it. Help me analyze that one.
I don't know what to say. I mean,
it's your job to know what I missed on that one, Lopez.
What you missed was Scream getting kills once again. I mean, actually, I thought that was a bit of a mistake by Verygames, because once Smith started walking into tunnels with an off first, I actually felt like Scream should have maybe cleared that close corner first, and that's why Smith died for no reason. But then Scream just picked up that up and just held B all by himself. And even though he didn't get many kills, he still delayed them long enough for rotation.
He's going to have himself some kills here. 1, 2. Not going to get the 3rd. It's Nico who will stop the rock, but Verygames nevertheless in dominant form. And it will take us to the final, or to half-time at 10-5 to Verygames. And that's quite the response they were looking for after losing to Complexity.
Yeah, and quite the response after losing the pistol round. You know, the Copenhagen will started this half up 1-0. If we could go back in time and just go tell Fetish right now that after they won the pistol round, like, you guys shouldn't celebrate because you're going to only get 5 rounds this half, there's no way he'd believe me.
So, was that Copenhagen Wolves' loss, or was that Verygames' win?
I actually think that was more of a Verygames win. I mean, Copenhagen Wolves played relatively well. They just weren't winning any of the close rounds, and I think that's because of the brilliance of Verygames. We just saw everybody playing well. Scream finally back to his normal level, topping the scoreboard, getting a lot of kills for Verygames. And, you know, I've said this before, when a very good team is playing very well, they're next to impossible to beat.
T-side for Verygames, do you expect it to be more of the same? Rinse, lather, repeat?
Pretty much. I mean, we know how Verygames likes to play. They like to take the slow, methodical approach, not take too many risks. I mean, I wouldn't take too many risks if I'm up 10-5 after the harder side. And on T side, you can kind of just grind out rounds. You just wait for Copenhagen Wolves to make some mistakes, and you get a couple of picks here and there. Existence makes a couple of good calls, and that should be it.
If someone's going to pull Copenhagen Wolves out of this situation and get them right back into the game, who's it going to be?
Dupree and Nico, I think. Dupree has been very good this match. He hasn't gotten a lot of help from his team. We saw Nico hit a couple of big shots, especially on Dust 2 CT side. And Opera can really make a huge difference if he starts getting entry kills all around the map and just rotating really well. So if Nico gets, if Nico's team win the pistol round and he gets hot early, this could still be a very close game. But they really need the pistol round.
They need the pistol round. We say it time and time again. And for Copenhagen Wolves, is this what you would expect? I mean, you made a long introduction and prediction on HLTV. Is this what you would expect? They're playing well, they're doing all right, but Verygames are just that much above them.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Also, Copenhagen Wolves, like I said, there's still a somewhat new roster. They went through a couple changes. So, you know, if they were given a little more time, they'd probably get closer. The gap would be a little more narrow, but they're still playing against the world's best team, and you know that's just a fact that you can't get away from.
You just can't get away from the fact that Verygames are very good. See what I did there? That's a pun you can take to the bank. As we follow Scream pushing through in towards the B tunnels, and Dupree darts back, and Copenhagen Wolves will be desperate to repeat their pistol round success of the first half, only to then hope to convert it a little heavier, as Dupree is spotted in that CT spawn, looking through those double doors. Not getting any information himself, though. He's got nothing to report back to base to say where they are. And being on the B side of that, that's left 3 CTs up at B. 2 men now of the T side ready to make their entry in towards A. In fact, that may have been a bait itself, as the terrorist side sit in those double doors, make a lot of noise, and now commit to go into the B tunnel. So 2 in at B at the moment, waiting for them. The rotation from Dupree put him all the way back in towards T-spawn, where he will see action any second now. And the bomb is making its entry in towards the site. There's a fight in T-spawn at the same time as this. It's Scream in existence to get it. Dupree has gone down, and Verygames find themselves in a great position. They've got themselves 3 frags on the board for only 1 loss, and this is Fetish to try and save the day. He can't. Existence is going to go down to Zipnix, and he has got to go 1-on-2 to keep Copenhagen Wolves in this half, or in this map, as he and his 21 points of health are going to have to deliver 2 headshots here against 2 players who do not want to be seen, do not want to be found, and if they are, they're going to come out shooting. MBK having a great game.
Yeah, and so is Scream, who just got a triple kill once again, by the way. He's topping the scoreboards with, I believe, 19 kills right now. And like I said, it looks like he's back. Scream's back, guys.
Scream's back, and if you talk about it, you know, we said maybe he didn't have a great game against Complexity, but
against any of the teams so far.
Only certain players, there are only so many kills you can get. There's a fixed number. And we've seen Shocks have to play a more quieter role simply because Scream is now delivering all the kills. No?
No.
Scream
simply had weak games earlier, but good thing for Verygames, they seem to be back to, or Scream rather seems to be back to his normal level now.
4 frags for Verygames as they look to convert out this pistol round, and they do so. That's how it's done, and it is 7 rounds, the difference, and growing. As you spy the Verygames players on your screen, they don't show any emotion. They don't show any you know, confidence that this is a $250,000 tournament and that they're playing not only for that, but they're also playing for their next contract.
Yeah, that's something the studio brought up earlier. I mean, obviously, if they were to win this tournament, they could probably leverage more money. But at the same time, something to think about is there's only so much money to be given to a Counter-Strike team. Having a Counter-Strike team is very expensive because you have to pay 5 people. You have to pay for 5 people's travels. So I actually think short of them just bombing out like before the NIP game, I don't really think it makes a big difference in what they're going to get because their market value is way up there and they're probably going to get a pretty good deal. In fact, I believe NBK already said they have their things set for them pretty much. So I think it's only a matter of time and just waiting out till the new year when their deal with Verygames ends.
Do you think they'll be following your footsteps to wear the blue of EG?
I actually said earlier that would make a lot of sense because Verygames are a Razer-sponsored team and so is EG.
Here we go. Nico gets himself frag number 1. It's going to be Scream that goes down as Copenhagen Wolves try to stop this rot and try to claw their way back into this Dust 2 map. As Smith leads the charge in towards that A site, it will be Smiths with his AWP to look down long A and have all the time in the world to get himself the kill onto Fetish. And on the backside, though, Dupree has got himself a kill, and we're up to a 2v2 and what looked like a very good position for Verygames has suddenly become a little more daunting, but Sipnik's got his all to do with that FAMAS. One on the top of the bomb site, one now walking over the top of him on catwalk. They have got that bomb. They are moving into the site. Sipnix has been able to move up close to Personal. Jumps up, gets the headshot. Lovely stuff. MBK last man standing now. Smith's last man standing with only 6 points of health, but the AWP, it's one shot and he connects. And Copenhagen Wolves get themselves around and just claw on to this game.
What a NBK asking, really? What a good play by Zipnix. I actually think that's a bit of a mistake by NBK, because so often there's a guy jumping up and down in CT spawn, and the mid-air shots are actually not that bad in CSGO, but very good play by Zipnix. Even that third kill that wasn't shown in the highlight that he got earlier was a very nice headshot.
So, Verygames quickly avenged. Zipnix is down. And Nico and his AWP unable to go to work on long A, and it really was all set up for him. He had a lot of players coming his way. Fetish has got action coming too. Scream's going to go down, and after all of Zipnik's hard work, it's all gone to pot. And
Nico has left the game. We'll see if there's a follow of some kind potentially, as the last two Copenhagen Wolves members go down, and you know that joy of Zipnix's clutch was really short-lived, because right now Copenhagen Wolves are broke.
So let's go back whilst we lose. We've got him back on the server actually. We've got Waldo on the server, who I'm assuming is Nico.
Where's Waldo? On the
There
server.
he is.
On the server.
Let's go back to the fantasy football that is where are Verygames going next. We talk about them going blue and going to EG. What are their other options? Because it's easy to say, very good team, they should go to EG.
Honestly, I'm not so sure, because I feel like they're not going to join a team that already has a Counter-Strike team. Like, I don't see them replacing anybody. So it seems to me like the natural option is someone who isn't in Counter-Strike picking up a Counter-Strike team. And obviously, those are some of the big organizations backing games like StarCraft or League of Legends and Dota. And that's not what I'm an expert on at all. Like, I don't really know about those teams at all. So to me, EG just seems like someone that could be a possibility. Despite my ties to EG, I actually don't have any inside knowledge.
Oh, come on, what good are you to us?
So you shouldn't probably post on forums and talk about this, or make like a big deal about this becoming true because I said it. But it does make sense on some levels, because they are like the main Razor team in Counter-Strike, and I'm fairly sure that EG probably has one of the better Razor sponsorships. So it would actually make a lot of sense, because I assume Razor is paying almost all of their bills anyways in Verygames. I'm not sure who else. It's not like I doubt the server company's paying for a lot of it. I'm sure it's Razor mostly. So it's probably one of those cases where Razor is actually going to dictate a lot of where Verygames is going to go.
What about a more historic team who currently don't have a top CS team? Mouse Sports, they have a CSGO team, but they haven't been able to progress much here.
A CSGO team.
SK, they have a CSGO team, but it's not been the smooth sailing of old SK. Could you see them going a little more controversial and just saying, right, let's buy some success?
It's very possible, but I actually think that Verygames are smart enough to know that a lot of teams struggle quite a bit after changing their hardware, or to be more specific, their peripheral sponsor. It's actually somewhat hard after years and years of using some mouse or some company's gear to just change to a completely new one. And I believe Verygames have had the Razer sponsorship for a long time. Like, those guys have been backed by Razer for as long as I know, so I really doubt they want to change what they play on. And I mean, there's no reason to. Why would you if you're the best in the world? You just want to stick to your guns, and that means playing for an organization that is sponsored by Razer. And the thing is, if you couldn't get one, then you'd go somewhere else. But I just don't see a shortage of offers for Verygames out there.
It's at that moment that we'd like to thank SteelSeries for their sponsorship of the CSGO tournament here at DreamHack 2013. We do have some form of technical issue inside the game. I'm looking over to BSL, or BLS as I like to call him now, for any support, but he's just playing with his hair. He's not really...
By the way, just to tie this back into Counter-Strike and SteelSeries, this is actually when, if I'm SteelSeries, I want to do everything I can to sign Verygames.
And I've had communications with those sides, and they've just been like, we want to get such and such a team to pull them over so we have dominance within that game.
Yeah.
That's how the industry works.
Yeah, of course.
The peripheral sponsors want the top teams, and they want to lock out games.
Yep. So that is for sure the case. And if I'm still serious, Verygames is that one team that I really want to sponsor now, who I already don't sponsor.
Yeah, most definitely. So 13-6, And we're going to get ourselves back into this one as Nico has rejoined. And we're staring down a almost GG scenario. It's going to be a safe round here for the CT side. They're going to have to win almost every round at least, with little exception if they actually want to take this one now. And they didn't put up much of a fight there. So, Verygames.
14-6 in favor of Verygames. Very, very comfortable spot for the French-Belgian side. Not much money on Copenhagen Wolves side at all. Nico has the elephant rifle once again, and 4 FAMASes to go with it. So this round will rely a lot on what Nico can do.
And they've relied on Nico a lot, and he hasn't really had the game of his life. Dupree is the one that's led it for them. Nico 12 frags, not terrible, but
not what you need to beat a team like Verygames.
Let's see. Resistance jumps up on towards Catwalk. Has support from Smiths and Brent as they make their way towards the double doors. As Verygames did move people up on towards Catwalk, but that's mainly just so they could move around the Copenhagen Wolves side, cause some distress, make sure they didn't know where anyone actually was. And coming through the double doors now is going to be Scream. That'll be the AK headshot connecting onto Dupree, one of the danger men of that Copenhagen Wolves side.
By the way, Nico has a scout, not the elephant rifle. So I'll take my word back.
There is that scout on the floor as Scream dispatches of him. MBK continues his fine form, and this is going to be a very methodical massacre from Verygames. 15-6 match point.
By the way, a quad kill from Scream once again. Scream, who is sitting at the top of the scoreboard with a score of 28 kills, 6 assists, and only 11 deaths.
And Shock's bottom of the scoreboard.
Yeah.
With 13.
But it's not like he's doing badly. He's
I know,
still 13 and 10.
I'm just being sensationalist.
Yeah.
Looking for the tabloid headline.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not sure how often our viewers actually see the scoreboard, so I just wanted to point out that even like everybody on Verygames is doing well. They don't actually have a weak link right now.
Powering in towards the B site, come a Verygames side, knowing that they are 1 round away from being 1 map up and 1 hand in the semi-final. They've got their first frag. They need 4 more to get themselves through here, as MBK will dart back, and they've quickly decided that B wasn't the assault for them, as MBK has made his way all the way back up. He has support in spawn as well from the AWP. That is Scream. Zipnik's just firing in through those double doors, hoping more than anything to slow, maybe to catch one of the French players out, but he hasn't. And we spy Copenhagen Wolves side that, until Smiths hit that frag onto Device, didn't actually know where the Frenchmen were going. Dupree will now come back. He's going to have to go crazy big and can't. Shock picks him off, and now Zipniks will come through the double doors. Only Nico survived, or is remaining, and he has an AK for his troubles. Full health, 1 on 3. No pressure, but if you don't do this, it's all over. And it is.
Yep.
16-6 to Verygames. That was not close.
No, that was not close at all. Verygames were simply a far superior team in the first map of the quarterfinal here, a DreamHack winner. And, I mean, they just look to be in very good shape now. We talked about, I mean, they looked a little shaky earlier. They were making mistakes. All of their players weren't really chiming in terms of fragging. Scream was having an off day. But it seems like just as the playoffs begin, all of a sudden everybody's doing well. So, I mean, that's always been the case for great teams. They sort of take their foot off the pedal sometimes in the group stage. They want to save their energy. But when it's for all the marbles, everybody steps up their game. And that's a sign for a great team.
Getting something in my ear. I think there's a public service announcement for someone in some form of an American sports jersey. We're missing someone in an American sports jersey for the post-match analysis. Don't know whether it's the Mighty Ducks.
It's not Kobe Bryant today.
Not Kobe Bryant. Apparently it's not Emilio Estevez. Could be, I don't know.
It could be the captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who now owns the franchise.
There you go. We've taken that joke
It
as
just
far as it can go. So, for your money, we're going to move on. I think Inferno's the next map. We see Copenhagen Wolves down to here. They're walking away from their PCs. Going to go out. Going to have a snooze, as you do when you're in Sweden. And can they regroup? Are they the type of players who can regroup? I mean, there isn't one player on that team that stands out for me as being a man who can make or break a match. For example, I talk about the other match, Complexity. If the 4 players were going down, I know that Nothing is a player who just with one good round could get his confidence back and lift the rest of the players. Do Copenhagen Wolves have that talisman?
I mean, I think they have multiple people like that, mostly Dupree and Nico normally, but Device also has some sick rounds every now and then. So, I mean, Device is actually the #1 player in that team statistically over the course of their careers. So he probably hasn't done as much as you might expect, but they still got 2 maps to go. They could very easily win Inferno. It's still anyone's series, although Verygames now have a nice, comfortable lead.
Speaking of Complexity, they are losing 14-9 to Astana Dragons on Nuke. And this was the game that you said you wanted because of your boy Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of friends on Complexity. I know people in Dragons very well, so this would have been fun to watch just because I guess I know people on those teams, so I have more of a personal, I don't know, feel for that game. I subjectively want to watch that game more, even though objectively this might very well turn out to be a better game.
Well, it's been a very one-sided game thus far. Verygames picking up a clean sweep here in the first half against Copenhagen Wolves. We've talked about where Verygames might go next. Has this ever played on your mind? You've orchestrated these type of changes before with the Roccat founding and the whole 69N. That's as far as I can ever remember.
2080.
How much did that ever play on you? How much of being the captain that had to provide, you were the mother figure for that team that had to provide the next organization for them. How much did that ever play on you when you were playing?
It's a bit of a hassle here and there, but I actually think Verygames has good management. They always bring their manager here to take care of like little issues that may arise during tournaments. So I actually think for them it's not an issue at all.
Okay, so I have just got word that the American football star that we're missing is actually playing in the NFL right now. So we're going to throw it back over to the studio for BSL and Scoots.
All right, welcome back to the DreamHack SteelSeries CSGO Championship. I'm BSL here in the studio with Scoots. Thorin's missing in action, and we're just here to give you some score updates on how the 2 round of 8 matches are going. Like we talked about, Verygames are facing Copenhagen Wolves in the first round of 8 match. That is now on break between map 1 and map 2. Verygames started out very strongly on the counter-terrorist side of Dust 2. In the end, they gathered 10 rounds, which is a very good result, obviously, for the French team. I was standing behind them. They didn't seem phased at all. They just played on and kept talking, and their energy level was also really mellow. To me, it seemed like they were on a Sunday stroll, and they closed the map really fast also when the game switched sides. They got 6 rounds as terrorists, and Copenhagen Wolves only got 1 for a total result of 16-6 on Dust 2. And that's a result that Copenhagen Wolves, they must be disappointed with that result.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, we've lost Thorin, so I am now your official expert. So I'm going to tell you all sorts of interesting stories. I'm going to put a throwback jersey on in a moment. I wasn't watching that game, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. I was standing behind Complexity, and they just ended up losing on Nuke. I don't know the final score because I ran up here, but some interesting stuff. Obviously, very CT-sided map, right? Complexity starts as CT, lose the pistol rounds. They end up going down. They end up losing 6-9. So not a good half for them at all. But again, interesting storyline. The T got the pistol round, which is great. Second side, we flip it. You know, and obviously it's uphill battle for Complexity at that point. But they did the exact same thing. Took the pistol, took the next 2, eked their way back. I left, and it was 9-13. I think it ended up being probably 9 or 10-16. They just got up. I think they did lose. So.
When you were standing there, as things didn't go well for the American team on the arguably easier side of Nuke, how were they communicating? Were they on the verge of giving up like we've seen some teams do, or were they just sort of plodding along, taking every round as a new chance to get back in the game? What was your impression of that?
Again, they played the map enough to know that that score on that side is almost a GG, right? Like, against a team like this, you got to play out of your mind on the T side.
And also, we've seen Astana do really poorly earlier on ST on Nuke.
Exactly. But the shining light was you could definitely tell they were not happy, but they kept communicating, they kept calling strats, they weren't like throwing shit away, they didn't get down. And again, communication, winning or losing, is huge, right? And the way the crew also operates is Sean will call the strat, but nothing, and Semphis are talking a lot, and they didn't stop that. They kept, okay, how do we fix this? This is what they're doing. How do we, go down in the rain? They were mixing things up. So that's very, very encouraging. They didn't shut down, so to speak.
And also, they had at least fairly decent terrorist side to that map.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that half went from your perspective there, standing behind the players?
Well, it started, they had to win the pistol, and they did, obviously, and the one the next comes after. But, they got their legs under them. Astana did, and it was kind of going a little back and forth, and you just can't do that on that map on T-side. They needed to literally shut them out almost, right? But again, good communication, but, Astana hitting all their shots,
I know that in your heart of hearts, you'd really like to see Complexity win and progress in this tournament, not only because you know nothing personally, but also from the standpoint that we really want American CS back in the top echelon of Counter-Strike Go. I mean, there's sort of a spot missing there for an American top team. Don't you feel like that after having watched esports for so many years?
Absolutely. Again, like I was standing behind there, and I was chatting with Semler, and you might hear me screaming every so often. And I loved that the most about being with EG was standing behind the team, and I hated it the most. Right? It's one of those catch-22s. Same thing when you're a manager. When they're winning and everyone's having a good time and you're high-fiving, greatest thing in the world, right? It's like any sport. But man, when you're losing, and it's even harder when you're a manager type because all you can do is watch, right? And you can encourage out of game, et cetera, but you can't sit down for them. You're certainly not going to tell them how to play their game necessarily, right? So it's very much a hands-off victory or a hands-off defeat. But it got me all jonesing again, right? But again, the encouraging part about it is they kept their head up. Sean kept talking. They all kept talking individually. And again, they know they have an uphill battle. Now, the next two maps, Dust 2 and Inferno. So I think that absolutely works in their favor. They beat VG on Inferno.
They had a very, very good match on Inferno against.
But they got to get to Inferno, right? So that's the key. This Dust 2, obviously it's do or die for them on Dust 2. So if they can regroup, I don't know what side they're starting on. But again, back to your point, we absolutely need more top-tier North American teams. And then, obviously we have some big organizations. We all want them to grab Counter-Strike again. And I know Alex Garfield obviously very, very well. And he is the kind of guy that when his competitors in the scene are actively doing well in a game or in a genre, he's going to want to jump in, right? It makes sense because there's a reason you have this rivalry. So I'm hoping, Alex, you're watching this. I'm hoping you want to come back and have a team that kicks Complexity's butt every time they can, right? Because Alex grabs one, and maybe the other organizations grab one. Again, it's a very expensive endeavor. Now, that being said, I was tweeted that Counter-Strike Go is 75% off right now, which makes it like a cost of a
free
latte or something, right?
Latte.
So, if you're watching and you've never played this game, give it a shot. Buy it, download it, have some fun. But again, obviously I want them to win the next two maps, but it's going to be tough.
What does your gut tell you?
Man. My gut tells me, based on them not being Debbie Downers and not yelling and screaming at each other, that they still have a good shot.
All right, there you have it from Sir Scoots. We're going to go back to our casters for the second map of Verygames against Copenhagen Wolves. Over to you guys.
First we lost Thorin, now we've lost Lurpus. It's a disaster. Readers of Cadrid will be over the moon. Readers of HLTV.org will be sad. We have got the second half coming up for you in just a second. I'm trying to take a look in the server that Lurpus was connected to. Warm-up's ending right now, so we're just going to go for it. Lurpus, what do you think about this map? Really interesting thoughts, thank you very much. Let's get into the pistol round, which is about to start. And stop looking at my ugly mug. As we have Verygames taking on Copenhagen Wolves. Copenhagen Wolves are one map down against Verygames. They have to win. It's on Inferno, the map that they claim to be strong on. They claim that they can do it. Well, against the Verygames side, that's going to be a real struggle for them. And they will have a lot to do. Fetish gets himself the opening grenade, and that's what it takes for Copenhagen Wolves. They did win the pistol round last time out. We'll see whether they can convert it through. Scream gets himself a frag onto Nico. Device levels it back up as we go tit for tat with the frags. MBK pulls us back, and we're at 3-on-3. Both sides with a very low health player as Zipnix will push in. Smith's going to go and make the move across, and Dupree with the frag onto MBK, who's out for the count. And I like MBK a lot on that Dust 2 game. As much as he didn't get the top fragger, I felt he got the important frags in that round. And Dupree will push across, makes the jump in towards that B site, has Existence with him, I think. And actually the bomb is over on the other side. It's frag coming in, Smiths has gone down, and now it's all in Existence, and he is on the wrong side of town. As the bomb will go down in A, courtesy of Fetish, with very few seconds left on the clock. And he is full health like none of his opponents, but he has a hell of a task ahead of him as he pushes in with that P250. Darts around the corner. Bomb flashes. Flash comes in as well. And Existence loses some of that health very quickly. Oh, can you believe it? 2 double headshots going into the site now. He looks away from Fetish though. And Fetish is just going to wait. Use the clock, Fetish. And he does. He moves now. And he's downed. But he's done his job. He used the bomb timer. Existence gave himself a real fighting chance with those 2 headshots. But Fetish played it by the book. And I'm joined by, is it a bird? Is it Thorin? No, it's Lopez. Welcome back.
So far, much better than average. So maybe he's been making up for Scream a little bit in a way.
Been enjoying life both with pistol and auto sniper, as we saw on Dust 2.
But that's not new.
And life with an auto sniper is always fun.
Yeah.
Whether you're at my
Just
level
ask
or his. Device is pushed up, and this is where Copenhagen Rules have to do something different. They have to convert that pistol round into 3. As Scream is lying in wait. They rattle off a few shots in, and they've not added any variation in this. Verygames are expecting 2 players to come in. What the Copenhagen Wolves side haven't been able to do is they've left the ball on the Nala, but the other 3 players haven't added anything to this round. And with only 40 seconds left to go, they've not created any diversion up at A. The 2 players are actually pushed quite far up in mid-A, as Nico will lead the charge. The bomb has been escorted all the way up to Banana now. Nico will push in a grenade. He's going to get spotted, and maybe now they'll sense that there's a rotation happening. But as MBK gets himself the first frag, it'll take the fake away. And here we go. It's all on the man in the site. Who is it? It's Scream has been dropped. Frags on the other side. The bomb is going to get picked up and moved in towards that site, surely. Only 14 seconds left to go, though. Shocks goes around the corner. Headshot onto Device. Bomb has been planted with very few seconds left to go. And Shocks is going to have to do this 1-on-2 against Zipnix, who stops him. And Copenhagen Wolves make very hard work of a pistol round conversion.
Yeah, you know, Verygames, they're just so deadly on those second round ecos. They didn't even buy almost anything that round, aside from MBK, obviously, who got the sniper. Actually, I'll take that back. They actually did buy quite a bit. So that's my mistake. But regardless, Verygames very dangerous on those second rounds. It's almost like having to play 2 pistol rounds before you actually force them on a save round and get those freebies. So good start by Copenhagen Wolves. Last map they won the opening pistol round, but lost the following round. Now, obviously,
4 AKs and a P250.
Yeah.
Talk us through the thought process for Nico on a P250.
Yeah, I was just going to say, now they're going to get a 3-0 lead, which is a lot better than an opening map. So basically, Nico, he's the team's opper. He doesn't want to buy... First of all, you shouldn't have 5 people buy rifles early on anyways, because in case you lose a teammate, you can just have that person with a pistol pick up that AK or Galil or whatever gun that may be, and that way you get to save it, even if one of your players die. So you only lose the value of the armor or whatever, actually not even nades, just armor in that round. And Nico is saving for an op. He's going to be opping later on in this half as Dupree gets a pair of nice kills there in the boiler room. So Nico is making sure he has plenty of money saved up for the first gun round, and if any of his teammates die, he's simply going to pick up that AK.
Well, there you go. Dupree has a hat trick and money in the bank courtesy of that. MBK did stop his drop, but Zipnik's avenged. Bomb's going to be planted here, and Existence, we said he loved the pistol, but he's going to have to love it a whole lot more. He's got 37 points of health and is not going to be able to contend that bomb. And this will be 3 rounds to Copenhagen Wolves, and exactly what they needed after the break.
Yeah, and by the way, Nico now has picked up the AK of Dupree. So that's the big difference. Now, instead of losing that AK, Copenhagen Wolves actually get to keep it. Nico's going to hold on to it, and then he's going to drop it over to Dupree in the beginning of the next round and get himself the elephant rifle.
That's why we pay you the big bucks, Lurpus.
I'm not sure about that.
That's why we let you grow that mustache.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Which we're going to shave live on stream tomorrow.
No, we won't.
Come on.
I have to leave by like 4 a.m.
There you go. We can do it then.
No, the next night.
So we'll take it live on stream before the final.
No.
It'll raise a lot of awareness. The whole viewership will be like, why has Lurpus got that mustache? And you can get Robert, the CEO of DreamHack, to do it for you. I pretty much scripted this whole thing already.
I'm still not on board.
Come on. Joe Miller got his hair shaved live on stream in Singapore last year.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Be more like Joe.
There's only one Joe.
There is. And we miss him.
We do.
So,
okay, so first weapon round of the second map here in the quarterfinals. Copenhagen Wolves down 1-0 in maps. We're watching Zipnix here. Now Shocks, who's going to see Zipnix any second in the hallway. Takes the head off of him. Second kill is going to go to Device, and Copenhagen Wolves are going to attack this A-bomb site.
And they picked up 2 big frags there. Shocks and MBK both go down. Dupree helps himself to the life of Smith. And Smiths and that FAMAS have got a lot of work to do going in towards the A site as the 2 Frenchmen decide, you know what, we've got guns and we wouldn't do if we didn't save. And Verygames will lose their 4th round, but if they get away with 2 weapons, there'll be enough for them to really contend this next one.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you'd probably still save, but knowing Verygames and how they like to play, I actually assume they're just gonna buy next round. They're gonna get some FAMASes. Unfortunately for them, Existence only has a FAMAS to begin with, but I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be dropping any guns they can. NBK might wind up with a Nova once again, and they're probably going to be contending for the round and just trying to get into the game.
So Copenhagen Wolves 4 up. Same facial expressions as they were when they were many rounds down in that first half. You said they were a very calm and collected bunch.
Yep, that they are, as seen on stream.
As seen on TV. And we'll see whether MBK can lead this Verygames side to victory. I thought, as I mentioned earlier, he got important frags on Dust 2. Obviously, Scream stole the headlines.
Yep. NBK's gone for the max 7, but Verygames have bought, like I said. So we'll see what they're able to do here. Smits once again on this over-rotation towards the B side early. Scream takes the head off of Device. Nice shot by him. And Copenhagen Wolves look to be falling back out of Banana. Doesn't seem like they actually know what they want to do yet. They're still sort of trying to find out what exactly it is Verygames are doing, and they're gonna base their decision on that.
And what information have they got at this point? They've lost a man. They haven't actually seen a great deal of action. Now they're going to see people just peeking on Banana Walkway. And they've isolated Nico actually all the way in there, and there are 2 guns trained on him. He doesn't know that, I don't think, but he's got some reinforcements coming his way. Dupree gets himself a frag onto MBK, and here we go. Scream's going to push in, and they're going to force the agenda here, and they back Scream to the hill.
Bomb's going to be dropped right there.
Frag comes in. Verygames with Scream gets himself a 2nd frag. That was the 3rd of the round for him, but they've lost him. Zipnix has got himself the important frag, and he and Dupree will quickly make their way around towards the A site where Shocks is lying in wait for them. And he is ready to open up onto Zipnix and that bomb, and that'll leave Dupree in all sorts of trouble. He's got 15 seconds, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Shocks waits inside the house. No, he's just around the corner, picks up the bomb, gets out of there, and will run it over towards the site where Existence is waiting with his FAMAS. And there he was so one-track minded at that moment in time. Dupree, get the bomb, get it down, and if people are in my way, I may just die.
Yep. And by the way, Scream a triple kill once again. He's really showing up in this quarterfinal and doing a lot of work.
Big games, big players, and Actually, I can tell you what, Lupus, if I take a wee look, we were talking about can EG pick up Verygames. I can tell you that Comrade, the manager, is watching. Any messages for him?
No.
You and Scoots have both urged them on.
I think they'll know what to do. Okay, so some early damage dealt to Smits. Not a whole lot, just 21 health gone down. Copenhagen Wolves once again playing slow. Verygames not doing anything too aggressive. Scream still pushed up a little bit into Banana, but it looks like he's also going to fall back into the site now.
The Verygames side know that off the back of that round win, they can really turn the situation. If they lose this, it's going to become very expensive for them very quickly. Let's not lose sight of that, but Verygames don't think about losing.
No, that's not on their mind.
BK. Oh, he had it. I want to put my house on him hitting that frag, but here we go. It's going to be Scream moving forward. He's got 3 players jumping around that corner. Dupree shuts down the danger man. Smiths is going to move in and can't collect on that frag. The smoke blocks
But
him
look
out.
at the position of Existence.
The most dangerous tree in the world as Existence gets himself the frag. Dupree, though, stops him from going anywhere. And actually, that was a time for Existence to wait a little longer if he was well shielded. But Shox is going to come in and make this a little harder. Lovely hit from Nico. But it's now going to go all the way down to MBK. Bomb planted, 1-on-3 for him. And he gets himself the AK that's on the floor and is going to go for this. As he looks for Nico, doesn't see anyone, and that buys himself, oh sorry, that buys the tease 10 seconds, because they couldn't see a single player. MBK had nothing to get an entry frag and nothing to get excited about, and in the end, he said, well, I may as well save this, and this is going to put us up at 5-1.
Yeah, that's a very good start by Copenhagen Wolves. 5-1, Verygames. They're still low on money, but, I mean, they might just once again go for the buy. I think they actually probably will go for the buy once again. But very good start for Copenhagen Wolves. Even though Inferno can be won on both sides, I actually think generally he probably favors the counter-terrorist a little bit. So, I mean, looking pretty good for the Danes. That's all you can really say.
This has been a massive turnaround for them. Go on, give us an update from the other game.
In the other game, Complexity are currently up 4-1 on the counter-terrorist side of Dust 2.
There you go. And who won map 1?
Astana Dragons won DE Nuke 16-9 after a 9-6 terrorist half.
There is the most emotionless match report possible from Lupus, and maintains his objectivity throughout. As we spy just a few pokes and prods from Copenhagen Wolves there. They've done this. They like to react their attacks. Their attacks are all, who's going to come at me where, and then go from there. There's Dupree gets himself the frag onto Shox, and that'll open up the house for him. And we'll see MBK suddenly a little more concerned knowing that Dupree's on the top. Dupree has retreated and gets himself out of harm's way. Opening frag goes the way of Copenhagen Wolves. And what are they able to do with that? They've decided there may well be enough players over at the A site that it's worthy of rotating the bomb around towards B. Zipnik stops MBK from getting any information. MBK moving all the way out would say, yes, A is clear, we can push around towards B, but instead he's not able to do that. And Verygames, as you can see by Scream, rotating back towards spawn, have no idea because the bomb is walking in right behind him. And as are the Copenhagen Wolves, who rattle off a few shots. Zipnik's going to see some action. He's seeing all the fun as he downs Smiths and gets himself frag number 2 of the round. Bomb has been planted. Zipnik completes his hat trick and may well get number 4.
And he will get number 4, a quad kill by Zipnix. He's one of the players who I mentioned in my, I think it's the introduction part, as having had sort of a rough couple months in Copenhagen Wolves. He was by far Fnatic's best player in the previous team, the Fnatic had, that was mostly Danish. Ever since joining Copenhagen Wolves, he's been good, but he hasn't been the kind of player where he was in Fnatic, where it looked like he was sort of starting to become a star. Now, this tournament, I've actually seen him have quite a few good rounds, so it seems like he's probably worked on his game a little.
He's had a cracking entry into the quarterfinal, coming big when it counts for Copenhagen Wolves, who need everything and more as they're a map down, and will look to try and take us to a third map.
Yep, and so far looking very good for Copenhagen Wolves. I mean, Verygames are saving right now, which, assuming Copenhagen Wolves can win the round, they're very favored to win. That would put him up 7-1, and that's a commanding lead.
You're never safe, though, with Verygames players connected to the server, you're never safe, regardless of what weapon they have. And it'll be MBK set in the battle bomb site. You can see this, and talk us through what Copenhagen Wolves do, because this round is no different. They like to have an eyesight on everything. They'll fire a few shots into a bomb site, they'll fire a few shots into a wall, they'll see what their opponent does. What's the methodology behind that?
Well, they don't want to take unnecessary risks. They know unless they walk into a big stack of Verygames or they just hit the craziest shot of all time, they're going to win because they have better equipment. So they want to scout out the bomb sites. They want to make sure they don't walk into a bomb site with 5 counter-terrorists waiting for them. So they sort of slowly take over the sites, and once they see a stack, they're just going to run all the way around. So they're basically just minimizing risk.
And for you as a player who's done that, because Copenhagen Wolves do this even when they don't have the equipment advantage, they're a very kind of passive attacking force here on Inferno in particular. What was your favorite style? Did you always go in and say, right guys, we're moving to B, we have our set calls, we're going to call them? Or how quickly could you make a decision on a sixpence and say, you know what, we've seen enough information, we're going to go here?
Well, actually, a lot of the time you have to make the decision really fast. So most of the time, it's sort of something you've already learned in practice where it doesn't even always have to be the caller making the call, because you usually have the same person scouting the site, and he's usually the one who gets to say how many people there are. Normally he would say how many people there are, but after a while, he's probably going to end up being the guy making the call because he has the most information. He's going to hear the most, and it takes much longer to say, I might have heard 2 more there, whatever. So the guy scouting is just going to, okay, guys, just hit over there.
And the guy scouting may well be the guy dying the most, and you could easily make a defense to say that Lurpus, the strat caller, was really the hero of the team. Yep.
That's a nice way to put it.
It's a nice way to put it.
Touched.
I'm just trying to defend you. As Fetish, the strat caller for Copenhagen Wolves, leads them up. The hero of the team, as one Lurpus would say. And he will command his team in a 7-1 lead against Verygames here on map 2. Smiths has pushed a long way out. He comes looking for frag number 1. It's Shocks that we're going to see open up with 2 frags. Can't quite get the 4th, but he and Smiths combine for 4 frags between the 2 of them. Dupree all on his own. And Yumi and Dupree, a terrible movie, but almost a very romantic Counter-Strike story.
Almost. And this is a nice way. I mean, we often talk about what teams need when they're sort of losing. They usually either need to change the way they're playing, or they just need some individual performances to put them on board. And now we just saw Shoxy and Smits getting 2 kills apiece very quickly as Copenhagen Wolves came out of the hallway. And just nice play by Verygames, some individual skills there, and that just got him on board.
Verygames have Scream.
Exactly, by the way, how they won their first round with Scream's triple kill.
2 big famous frags coming in, and the Copenhagen Wolves have struggled to contend with existence. As Dupree wants to make me pay for that horrible joke in the last round, has gone up towards A. But this is a 3-on-5, and suddenly becomes a lot harder for the Copenhagen Wolves side as they get ready to push in now. Dupree is under fire there as he gets pinged down from Shocks, and Zipnik will get 1, but it's going to be Zipnik to go down. Fetish comes around from the back, and the hero has his moment. 2 big frags for him have turned this round right on its head. Scream and Existence have to recover the A-bomb site from Fetish and Dupree. Dupree, one of the players you do not want to go up against right now, as he is in tip-top form, but has been sighted going the, let's say, slow route in towards the pit, and took a bullet in the buttocks. And Fetish gets himself frag number 3, can't get himself forward, it's all on to Dupree. Scream, man of the match so far versus Dupree, man of the Wolves so far, and he will go for it. Dupree delivers, and the Wolves can howl once more. It is 8-12.
8-2, and
8-2, yes,
yeah.
not 8-12.
Yeah, 8-2, and Verygames, once again, somewhat low on money. They will go for the force buy because they're just not giving up any more rounds as long as they can afford reasonable equipment. But that must be annoying for Verygames because it looked like they were going to win that round following Existence 2 entry kills in Banana. But someone, I think there was a miscommunication because no one was holding the A-Rap flank, and Fetish was able to just get 2 free kills. And we even saw NBK running some dots in a smiley face. So some frustration building up over on the French Belgian side.
Well, this was not what the doctor ordered. They, you know, 1 dust 2 in their sleep.
Yeah.
And this was not what we expected to see. We were ready to kind of write the headlines. I saw you had the HLTV post already half written. Hey, you know, Copenhagen Wolves rolled by Verygames. that has not been the case come map 2.
Yeah, I mean, that can sometimes happen when you haven't have too easy of a time in the opening map. You sort of let off your guard. You think it's going to be an easy match. It's not a conscious decision. No one's that dumb, but it just sort of happens. You can't really fight it if you feel like a game is too easy. So that might be something that is playing in. But at the same time, I mean,
Nico
Copenhagen
gets
Wolves are just playing great CS.
Nico gets himself a big kill onto Existence, stops them pushing all the way down. Smith, though, will have gone through, and with him pushing all the way down Banana, it meant that the A push was always going to be under a lot of pressure because they knew that there's no one coming B. And they will have a 2-on-3 after plant here in favor of Copenhagen Wolves. Smiths and Shocks to go through. It's Device that we're on board with, as Shocks will just pass this door. Device ready to come alive or not, and Smith was right behind him, and he'll come out from the balcony. Dupree's in the sight, and the bomb ticks louder and louder. Shocks is going to have to go big here, and almost does. Dupree's in there on the other side as well. Tipnix is out. Dupree waits in the back of the bomb site, one-on-one for the second round in a row. Here he goes. Oh, lands it with a headshot, sealed with a kiss, and it is 9-2. Copenhagen Wolves, it ain't easy for them. They're losing a lot of lives, but they are racing away.
Yeah, they're just playing very good Counter-Strike. Like you said, Dupree with his second clutch, 1v1 clutch in a row, and Verygames are just not winning any of those close rounds that all seem to go their way on the opening map now, and that really is the difference. I mean, Verygames haven't looked like they had no chance. This hasn't been a one-sided match, as you would think if you just looked at the score. There's been a lot of close rounds.
Are you not entertained?
I'm entertained.
9-2 to Copenhagen Wolves, and they now do force a full save from the Frenchman. And this will just ease them into double figures, assuming they can get through it. Fetish gets himself the headshot onto Smith. Copenhagen Wolves calmly take mid behind A, ready to make their push now, and it'll be Shocks who comes in. Dupree is out. Devices level thing, or re-established Copenhagen Wolves man advantage. And Dupree had no idea where that kill came from. And actually a lot of shots coming down from B. Existence to push in behind. And you see MBK does do some damage there. Only 2 players left standing for Verygames. That's their problem here. They may have done well, but they've been unable to make it count. They're going to chase out that B push. They spy it, and were they able to pick up any... Were they able to pick up Dupree's weapon? No, they weren't. Scream and MBK are in, and the bomb will move into that B site. Copenhagen Wolves taking it safe. They probably could have gone 4-on-2, but they'd rather go safe, get the bomb down, and then do after plant in a 4v1 situation now. And it'll be just Scream to have to go up. Absolutely ridiculous if it would have pulled this one off. 10-2.
10-2, and that's a commanding lead. Well, it's commanding, but if Verygames were to get 4 or 5 rounds here and the second half pissed around, you can always come back on the terrorist side. You can simply break the counter-terrorist team's money. So this is by no means over, but it's a very good sign for Copenhagen Wolves early on. But these last 3 rounds of the half are super important still. Someone might think 10-2, it's KO. Go to the third map, but that's not the case at all. We've seen so many comebacks, even at this tournament, from scores such as 2-12, even on this very map.
If it gets to 10-5, then a pistol round conversion, all of your hard work could be undone and momentum could be back with the one team you don't want to be feeling confident. So Copenhagen Wolves have shown no signs of getting cocky, but Smiths very cockily comes up behind 2 and downs them. Fetish eventually stops him in his tracks, but it'll be Zipnix getting down, and you can see that Verygames' individual talent can get them out of all sorts of trouble. And that may well be the case here. Fetish has got 2 kills in a row, but is unable to last out, and it's all on Dupree. This time, 1-on-2 with 15 points of health against 2 fully health up Frenchmen, and I do not like his chances here. He darts around the corner. They know exactly where he is. No bomb to help him, no bomb planted to help him either. He has 44 seconds to go. They will have watched him go in towards this house. They may have assumed he's going the long way around towards B, but he's not going to do that. Is he?
Just 15 health points too, which is obviously key. Just 1 bullet from Existence's cult will take him out. But the thing is, if he can somehow take out Existence, then he'll be up against Shoxy's op, which makes it a lot easier for Dupree to potentially score a kill. Now, he's been the hero of the last couple rounds, winning 1v1s in a row. Now we'll see what he can do here as he starts entering the A site.
I can hear Tina Turner, "We don't need another hero," in the background, being sung in a very French tone. Verygames shut them down, and they get themselves on the board for the first time in a long old while.
Yeah, it really has been a while, hasn't it, since Verygames last won a round. But they are still in it. It's 3-10. Like you said, if they're able to get 5-10 score at halftime, they win the pistol round, win fourth round, it's all tied up, and they have a massive advantage. So this game isn't over. You can win Counter-Strike matches with just 3 rounds in the opening half, easily. Especially if you're a team as good as Verygames. So if they can just get 1 or 2 more rounds, I actually don't think their odds are too bad for winning. If they can get 1 more round and the pistol round, I think it's as close as at least 40-60.
Well, there you go, the walking-talking mathematician, aided by Shox' AWP frag onto device there. He's going to try to add to his tally with Nico just down on spawn, and he's going to be joined by Fetish, who launches the nade over towards Shox, and that pushes him, forces him to fall back. But Nico is just in the side there, and this is going to be a tempting duel of fate. The bomb, though, neither here nor there. It's up in mid towards A. Smiths is going to see potentially some action. And Dupree rounds to the right-hand side of mid, where there are 2 players waiting in the pit. Fetish spies the flash coming in and starts opening fire as he waits for Zipnix to make the crossover past spawn. Zipnix is now all the way around and towards the site. He's got 2 very tough frags to find. He can't get them as MBK shuts down this Copenhagen Wolves attack. 2 frags for him, 1 for Smiths, and Nico now has a 1-on-5, which he isn't going to get past the first hurdle. We said at 10-2 that it could become 10-5.
And it looks like we're headed there right now. Once again, NBK getting 2 FAMAS kills there. And that's, that's all it takes. Even when your team is struggling, all you need is just one of your players, of whom they have 5 very capable as one, by the way, on Verygames. Just one of them to have a good round, and that can shift the momentum completely.
And who's the player for Verygames at the moment that's keeping them in this match?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all they have going for them so far in this half. They haven't played that well as a team. Copenhagen Wolves have outplayed them strategically and even individually, but Verygames have had a couple good rounds on an individual level that have brought them within striking range. They're not out of it just yet.
Last round of the half, 10-4. Existence fires down. Copenhagen Wolves doing what they've done, I'd say, all map. They've started passive, waited to see if they could get a pick, and then followed it up. They haven't. They haven't garnered any information yet, and they've used some of their nades, but they're now going to decide to push the bomb up through mid towards A. And it'll be...
Look at this. Shox has actually cleared apartments after peeking with a pop flash, so he might actually get a lot of action here. Just
here comes the action, and he gets himself the first frag, and Zipnix goes down. Shox is going to fall back. Dupree's opened up onto Scream, and it's all going to kick off here on the A site. Fetish gets MBK. Smith has equalized up, and Shox goes big once more as Smith follows him up. It's all on Nico now for the Copenhagen Wolves. What was a good half is either going to be great or not what it was meant to be. Copenhagen Wolves look down towards the pit, and there is one there, but Nico's between left and right. He has players coming in. They hear the bomb going down. He's just going to go for it anyway. Doesn't decide he can fake either player out, and now he's got the bomb timer on his side, but a player to his right and left. Shox going for it. Here goes Nico. Frag number 1, yes, but Shox jumps up just at the right time, and Nico needed to get that headshot about 2 seconds earlier so he could flip 90 degrees and get in on a frag, but he couldn't, and Shox shut him down. 10-5 halftime.
Yep, and once again, a big individual performance there, this time by Shox, who scored 3 kills, including that 1v1 win, although not really a 1v1, more of a 2v1. But big individual performance, another 3-kill round by Shox, and that's just how Verygames stayed in this game. They really were getting outplayed as a team. Their defense wasn't getting any stops, but their players individually gave them 5 rounds. They're still within reach. And if they win the pistol round, all of a sudden Copenhagen Wolves are the ones that are worried, even though they were just up 10-2 5 minutes ago.
Let's fanboy Dupree a little bit. Not only did he get 17 kills and was the top fragger in that first half, He also won a number of clutch situations, or added to a number of clutch situations for Copenhagen Wolves to get some of those tough rounds. We saw 2 1v1s for him that he won. Great play from him.
By the way, he was the top fragger for his team on Dust 2 as well. So Dupree has so far had a very good series. And just to give a little update on the other quarterfinal that is currently going on, Complexity have scored 9 rounds on the counter-terrorist side of Dust 2 to start off the second map. So strong start for the Americans after losing the opening map, and we'll see if they can hold this lead to tie the series.
And I think they've just won this round because I hear American clapping behind us. So good stuff for them, as it is Verygames now with a bit of a question being asked of them. They're used to this. They had to climb the ladder to get to the position where they could finally topple NIP for the first time. So they're used to pressure situations just like this. And many of these players have been around for a long old time. But being 1 map up, having felt that they were, cruising into the semifinals, they now find themselves with a Copenhagen Wolves side who, on Inferno, have played really, really well. They're 10-5 up. It's Copenhagen Wolves to lose still. What do you say at this moment in time?
I still think Copenhagen Wolves have the advantage now, because Inferno does favor the counter-terrorist a little bit. But considering how good Verygames are, I think if they win the pistol round or the second round, then the momentum's going to shift and they're going to become the favorites in this game. But I think Nico actually is the key player for Copenhagen Wolves, because you can do so many things with an op on Inferno. And if he starts hitting his shots, regardless of Copenhagen Wolves losing the pistol round, potentially, I think they have a good chance of taking this map.
Incoming at B, as Zipnix has got to sound the alarm. Smith gets himself the frag, and the French are coming as they knock down the door. On B, it's going to be Shocks to follow up with the next one. Fetish goes down, and they steamroll their entrance. MPK goes round to the side. Dupree says, I'm not done yet, son. 2 big frags for him, 2 big frags for Nico, and it's all she wrote for Verygames. Smith's got 4 points of health and does connect onto the head of Dupree. He's going to have to go even bigger, though, with a bomb on his side. He pushes out and forces him out. He needs Device to get in and get the defuse. Where is Device? Here we go. Bomb has been defused. And Nico finished off the job. I'll tell you what, that future-looking ball you've got, Lopez. You said Nico was going to have a big round, albeit for reasons related to a weapon he didn't have, but 3 frags.
Yeah, and they've really been the 2 star players for Copenhagen Wolves in this series. Dupree, we talked about how good it has been. Nico getting 3 kills. They just cleaned up that site on the retake, even when he looked like Verygames were going to walk away with it. But it's not all over yet. Verygames have used quite a bit of money. They haven't gone for a full buy here in the second round, but they've used quite a bit of money, and we know just how dangerous they can be on these second rounds.
Well, they don't have any choice. They're 11-5 down. They can't allow a full Copenhagen Wolves conversion.
That they really can.
So let's see whether their talent can get them out of this tough situation. Nico did as he did last time, has passed on this buy, but has still got himself a headshot. Shocks goes down. Nico calls for reinforcements in A this time. As Device gets himself frag number 2, it's Smith that goes down. Scream at his headshot, that's it. But the CTs have finished off the job. And Copenhagen Wolves might not look it, but they are coasting at the moment. 12-5, they stopped the rot from the end of that half.
They certainly did. Very good start after that retake. We sometimes talk about how big of a factor momentum can be. And, for some teams, it's a big thing. For some others, not so much. But I do think it makes a difference when the win is one where you weren't supposed to win. It's not necessarily just like winning, but, I mean, that retake should have been Verygames this round, I think, most of the time. So I think things like that probably do give them just some extra motivation and confidence.
Dupree is pushed up here with that M4 waiting and incoming as Zipnix was engaging a little bit with players in Banana, but they haven't moved the bomb anywhere, just set at the foot of Banana there as it'll be Nico to hold back. And he has passed on the buy again this time. But it'll be Dupree who sees it. And the Verygames side are gonna, looks like they're gonna push all the way up in B. Bomb moving up Banana now, 4 players with it, and one just watching A. In fact, they counter. Trying to read a lot off the little dots on the mini-map, but they do counter-rotate, and they're going to push the bomb now up towards the A as they change of pace. no movement, no reaction from the CT side regardless. As Copenhagen Wolves know, they can just lie in wait. And Nico's going to see some action here any second now. Can he open up with a headshot again? Oh, he does do some damage. I think it may have been the device that's helped him out as well. Dupree comes around the corner. He gets himself the frag on the shot. And Copenhagen Wolves now clean sailing here, surely. As Nico retreats, he needs a weapon to be trained on those guys. Device helps him out with a FAMAS onto MBK. Scream finally stops Nico, but Nico's done his job. And Device and that FAMAS have got 3 kills. Zipnix comes in with 1 more, and there you go. It's 13-5, and you'd be a very brave man now to not bet on a 3rd map.
It definitely does look like Copenhagen Wolves. Like you said, they're coasting, and they've looked very good ever since the map changed, really. I mean, the only rounds they've lost so far on Inferno have pretty much all been because Verygames has had some player chip in with 3 kills, or something that most of the time wouldn't happen. So very good play by Copenhagen Wolves. 13-5 lead is very good start. Lots of money on Copenhagen Wolves. They still have FAMASes, so they're going to be able to buy probably at least 2 times.
Lots of money on Copenhagen Wolves. You put the full Lurpis Esports Fund on Copenhagen Wolves winning this map?
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's got to be, what, 2, 3 bad CPL checks in there?
Yeah, actually, those checks never came. They don't even bounce. That would have been more
Novelty
fun.
checks.
Yeah, novelty checks. I got those.
Here we go. It's going to be Nico to fall back towards spawn as a full French armada comes running up. First frag's going to be Dupree. Second frag's going to be Nico. And he's got action right in front of him. Go for the no-scope. Doesn't. And Dupree has got the 3rd frag. MBK's gone down. Device helps himself to the easiest frag he'll get all day. And Scream will avenge. We're in a 1-on-2 here with Scream now picking up the bomb. And they will have heard that as he makes his way back. Scream picks it, tosses the nade over towards the side, now makes his way in towards that site. Puts the code in and does his job. No pressure on him as he plants that bomb, but now the grenade come in and the pressure's about to happen. If there's anyone for Verygames he wanted, it would be Scream, but Fetish makes sure. And Copenhagen Wolves get the defuse, and that was the moment that the Lurpis Esports Fund that had just been betting on Copenhagen Wolves could have looked a little nervous. Yeah. But not now, 14-5. Those bounce checks are looking pretty good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that could have been one of those rounds that could have still changed momentum and really shifted how this map is going to play out, because winning that round would have definitely given Verygames some hope. First of all, I mean, they can still afford a buy now, but they would have had a full buy. Now NBK has no nades. Second of all, that would have gone a short way towards Copenhagen Wolves going broke and having to start saving, and that's a vicious cycle once he gets stuck into it. And Verygames just need to catch a break now. They can't allow themselves to lose any more rounds.
No pressure then. Smith's down to 19 points of health, and it'll be Shocks who pushes up. Dupree is lying in wait. Nico with the AWP trained in on mid, and no one makes the crossover as he will fall back. Fetish has the bomb. No bomb carrier with him. Fetish, in fact, has been flashed out as a clean entries not to be had at B. They decide that that's going to be their fake. Again, no movement from the 3 CTs over at A. The bomb is at the foot of the catwalk. 3 Ts have actually decided to fall a little bit further back, but they're all going to regroup up in mid, do a little high five, and actually move that bomb right the way back up Banana. So Copenhagen Wolves probably a little dazed and confused at this moment in time.
A lot of damage, though, dealt on Smiths, and that early kill by Dupree, or late round kill by Dupree, but the first kill of the round is going to give a massive advantage to the Wolves. And look at this, Dupree now knows they're going to be attacking B, and he's going to be on a monster flank here if his teammates don't already clean up the side.
Yeah, Fetish goes big along with Zipnix, and the 3 of them. Oh, it's 3 frags for Zipnix, and that'll be that. Counter-terrorist win. Fetish just started firing the moment he got flashed, but fortunately, Zipnix had a little more sight for Copenhagen Wolves, and they are on 10 match points.
Yep, 15-5 for Copenhagen Wolves and
map points.
Map points, yes. My mistake.
My mistake.
Oh.
You're good.
Oh.
You're Lurpis. You don't make mistakes. Except in that protection thread.
Yeah, there's a couple in there somewhere.
There you go. You see Fetish. The moment that flash came in, it's like, ah, crap.
Just book it. 15-5, 10 map points, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a 3rd map here in this quarterfinal.
Just what the neutral wanted. Zipnix 2 frags for him. Copenhagen Wolves 3 frags away from going 1-1 against Verygames. And it'll be Existence and Scream, who are the only ones who can hold Verygames back in this one. Reinforcements coming up Banana as well. They're going to try and sandwich them out. Scream says, no, 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 don't start to get cocky against us. And they will have to wait it out in the Banana walkway.
Not a lot going for Verygames to turn. Existence gets a kill there on Zipnix, but they still need one more kill quickly.
They have made their way in towards that site, but the AWP from Nico is trained, and the AWP from Nico connects. Second frag for Nico. Oh, doesn't quite do it, but it's the last man that is Scream. He's only got 30 points of health. He's going to challenge Nico, and Nico's going to probably have to go no-scope here as he waits to get a bit of an angle. Misses his shot, but is helped out by Fetish. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to a third map. The Copenhagen Wolves rise as the team from France say sacre bleu.
Yeah, that's a very convincing map. When we talked about how good Verygames looked on the first map, well, Copenhagen Wolves looked just as good as this on the second map. And now we're all tied, and we're going to go to, I believe, was it Mirage?
How do you read Verygames in that situation after that? A little bit of looking around on one another. They get up, no shouting, no anger, no nothing. Just look at one another. They're very patient, very emotionless.
I think they know that they are still favorites in this series. Mirage is actually a very good map for... Actually, let me take that back. Mirage is actually a pretty good map for Verygames. They used to be very good on the old version of Mirage, but ever since switching over to the Valve version, they're pretty good on it, but it's not their best map. Now, I don't think Copenhagen Wolves are experts on the map either since the change. So I think it'll be a good game to decide the series, but you still gotta favor the team that has been better over the long term. So, I mean, they know what they can do. They know they can pull this out. There's no reason they need to worry. That's only going to make things worse. So just focus, catch their breath, take a little break, talk things over, and just focus on the third and deciding map.
Give us a score update from Complexity Astana. You've got that stream going.
I do. Complexity are up 14-7. Now on the terrorist side of Dust 2, so things are looking good for the Americans. We just saw Nothing win a 1v1, a key 1v1 at that, against Markelov, and
looking good for them. So
yeah, things are looking good for them.
We're all tied up. This is the quarterfinal of the DreamHack $250,000 Counter-Strike Go tournament brought to you by SteelSeries. It's been an absolute belter of a tournament thus far. It all concludes tomorrow night. Grand final in the Dream Arena is at, I think, 10:30 tomorrow, but you can check that online at dreamhack.sc.
And HLTV.org, where we got the viewer's guide with all the match information.
Wow. Seamless. Seamless. Speaking of seamless, let's send it over to BSL.
Yeah. Welcome back to the DreamHack SteelSeries CSGO Championship Studio. So we're still in the round of 8 and we're on map 2. Actually, we're done playing map 2 in the VG against Copenhagen Wolves game. And while the first map turned out to be a blowout by the French team, the second map was actually a blowout by the Danish team. Thorin, what's going on here?
I mean, yeah, this was the thing where when you get two teams who are good, you hope every map is so super close contested. But another way you can have parity is, okay, on your map, you completely deliver the knockout punch to me, but then I get up, it's my map, I deliver the knockout punch again, and then we go to the third map, which are where neither team's going to be as favored, you know, and then we really see who's the best team there, because then it's going to be like neutral ground. Now you're just going to win based on how good you are in general at CS, not like one specific style of one map or so. So that's how I felt it's gone at the moment. Now, I would have hoped a bit closer on both, but at the same time, I like the fact we have a third map regardless.
When I was watching the first map in the VG match, it just seemed like the French team was soundly outskilling, outclassing Copenhagen Wolves as a team.
Yeah.
On the second map, what was key in the way the Danish team took that one?
Well, I mean, like you said, that was kind of the mirroring of the maps. Like I mentioned, for me, the X factor was Scream, actually. I thought if Scream played up to his level, then that's when VG are at their best, because Shox is already playing incredible. Well, that's what happened. In map 1, he was on fire. The same guy, he usually leads all these certain stats, like headshot percentage, because of his style of play. And that stat was actually reasonably low for him in the group stage. But it shot right up in that first map. They looked like they were dominating. Well, similarly, Copenhagen Wolves, they got themselves over onto an Inferno, their best map. We've seen how good they are here. On their best map, they were just dominant. I thought that would be the map where, if Verygames played a great game, maybe they can even take them out on their map. But I said, remember the problem? I thought that the Danes had to win map 1 and map 2. Now, they got blown out on map 1. They got map 2, but here's the problem. Those 2 maps were more in their favor, and now Verygames, we're going to our last map, which is more towards the Verygames side.
And the last map, obviously, is Mirage, and you feel that the French team has the upper hand there?
Yeah, I mean...
What are you basing this on?
Well, just statistically, that's the second best map for Verygames. Obviously, their best map, you know, that's going to get removed. And so we're in a situation where Copenhagen Wolves, they've had a great tournament so far. They blew the amount on that other map, but on their map. But now they're facing Verygames on Verygames map, and they have to beat the champs, essentially, on their own map to get to this semi-final here. That's going to be a hard task. And Verygames, they've already warmed everyone up. They've got the stars going. Now, to them, it's like, okay, we just have to survive map 2. We don't even have to win it. Okay, if we can, great. They blow us out. Okay, who cares? 1-1 again. I'd love to be a best of 1 on my best map, you know, going against the team. So I feel like that's how Verygames has to be very confident.
So Scoots, you just got back, and you just got unarmed, placing your do not peek bat on our desk here, and possibly destroying your iPad.
That's all right.
Where were you when we started talking here in the studio after the VG closed out? VG lost that second map.
Watching the end of Complexity of Stana Dragons.
What happened there?
We're going to map 3, man. We're going to map 3. It's heart attack down there. Second map was Dust 2. Obviously, we know that Nuke did not do well for Complexity, so it was do or die. They come out to a 9-6 CT side, so good, nice and solid. Intriguing note, if you will, round 7, their strat caller, Sean, is scrambling in CT spawn, trying to grab a pistol off the ground, accidentally buys an auto shotty.
How do you accidentally
he
buy?
He said he slipped to hit the E key, and then when he went off it with his mouse cursor, he hit the. So he magically ends up with an auto shotty, right?
Okay.
So not even like a missed buy. Like
he accidentally an auto.
Yeah, he wasn't even trying. I don't know how you get that. So they lose that round, but again, didn't really stop them. But it screwed their money up, obviously, right? So then he had to get a drop, but they turned it around. Like I said, 9-6, and then a 7-1 finish to it, making it a 16-7 on Dust 2. So really solid play by them. And again, great communication. And what I noticed with these guys, and I'm sure they're not the only team, they don't live and die only by what Sean calls in the beginning. They're very, very fluid. Like Jordan has always been kind of that free roaming kind of guy. He's not free roaming as much, but he's most certainly actively, they're all actively on the fly changing stuff. It's not listen to this guy and everybody else shut up.
And every time we talk about Jordan, it's obviously nothing. The player's called nothing. He came up huge for them here earlier on. Was he also the standout player of this map, or is some of the other guys sort of taking up the torch, if you will?
I mean, he definitely seems to be LMSing quite a bit, but that's also kind of where they put him in his role and where he ends up at the end of rounds. But they're all making shots when they need to. I mean, they really are. And again, their communication is spot on right now, and obviously they're really excited. You know, we may not always have been good at Counter-Strike, but we are the best trash talkers, and they're starting their trash talk. You could probably hear the Ukraine, what now, Ukraine? So, I mean, and again, that's terrible if you trash talk and then get your butt kicked. So, we're going to map 3, and it's Inferno, which again, they beat Verygames on. Doesn't necessarily
mean anything,
but it's a good map for them. They're comfortable with it.
Well, one thing you can be sure of, if Complexity is on the T side and there's one round left and they seem to be going B, you should probably have a guy still standing on A.
Yep.
That's the way they won against the French team, right?
Did he say? Did you say the first map was Nuke?
Nuke.
See, that's interesting. Here's a little factor that I had actually thought up before. I was reading people's comments and their thoughts about the group stage games. Why did they pick Nuke for that game? And someone had an interesting theory, okay. They thought the reason that the Stana Dragons had done it was that they would play Nuke in the group stage games there against the better teams, because that's the map they didn't want to play anyway, so that they wouldn't give any struts away. And if they made it through, it's like kind of a gamble, but you're parlaying it into the idea that if I use those struts later to win the 100,000, then the gamble was worth it. Now, I thought maybe that has some veracity to it. Maybe it was a genius plan. But it turns out they're going to use Nuke anyway, and actually they've won on Nuke against Complexity. Now, okay, they've lost on Dust 2. We've called it the American map. It's like the map that fits the American style the best. The problem here is we're going to Game 3, and we want to believe, okay, that Complexity can do it. Oh, they did great against Verygames on Inferno. The bad news for you guys, the second best map for Astana Dragons is Inferno. I'm just going to tell you that. So I'm sticking with my prediction.
So you're not calling a miracle on Inferno today? No?
We've had enough miracles, I'm afraid, from America. It's time for the bad guys to win one.
So you're not altering your prediction?
No, I'm going to stick with Astana still. I mean, listen, impressive to get a map. When coming into this tournament, some people would have said, okay, I think Astana, the third best team, they'll blow them out in 2 maps, they'll be done. Listen, they've already proven they're competitive against Verygames. They've won a map here. Make the third map close, but I've got to still stick with my prediction.
And this is probably going to be the dumbest question you get all night. What do you think about the third
no,
map?
I'm changing my pick for sure. Dragons all the way. No, complexity, man. Again, like any given Sunday, it would be an upset for sure, but
today is Saturday.
You know what today is, though? It's Black Friday.
Wow. What implications did that have? Are you guys going to run down to the Dream Store and just buy everything?
Cheap sales on Ukrainian teams or something? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best.
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask you when we were between maps 1 and 2, since you have been a manager to Jordan, I was going to ask you, what would you say at halftime? But we also know that Jason Lake, famous for being the complexity manager, he's unfortunately not here with us today. But what do you think he would do? Because he's famously known for jumping up and down and basically out-yelling anybody on the... Possibly DJ Wheat can out-yell him, I'm not sure. But he's known for yelling quite a bit. How do you think he'd behave right now? And how do you think he is behaving if he's watching us?
I think that whole crew is probably in a Skype or a Ventrilo or something, and they're losing their minds right now. But again, Jason's been down this road a lot, and so he knows that they're not moving forward yet, right? Like, this is going to be tough. But again, they didn't get 2-0'd. I mean, it's great. All our matches are going to 3. But, you know, it's that tentative enthusiasm, if you will. And I think he would, I mean, obviously he would be very loud. He'd be behind them. He would be slapping them on the back. He would be doing all the stuff that I would do. But he is, if DJ Wheat's the world's loudest shoutcaster, Jason Lake is most certainly the world's loudest manager when he's behind his team.
Could I venture an answer to maybe what he might say? I imagine he'd say something along the lines like, come on, guys, do this, yeah. You want to be broke? You want to lose? Go on welfare. I can pay you to win championships. Do this shit.
And he would
on
probably,
5 team.
He would probably scream, bring me the pistols, because he was famous for that on Pistol Round, right?
All
So he would definitely be screaming that.
Well, sticking a little bit with complexity, Thorin, and possibly changing gears to a little bit more serious outlook. I mean, complexity, they broke through being the underdog because 3D was the big team in North America, and Jason Lake built that thing from scratch and into a world championship team. I hear we only have 1 minute left, so you have to make your answer pretty short.
Let's go for it, yeah.
How do you feel about the organization? Because they went from 0 and then up to being world champions. They had some problems, the whole CGS thing. They dropped Counter-Strike for a while, but now they're coming back. What do you think about that?
The thing with their organization is, in-game, they were the best ever in North America because the way they built their team was the European style. You have the utility players. You have the guy like a Sunman. Okay, he's not like a star anymore. He wins clutch rounds. You have Warden. He's a great utility player. He knows he's a utility player. You have an in-game leader, Trip, who calls strategies. He's not trying to do anything crazy, though. You have your star. You know who he is. He knows he's the star. He knows he has to win the game. You're not trying the old 3D method of just keep ramming great players in the team. The problem is, outside of the game, they couldn't get the sponsorships. That's why they never became the biggest organization, unfortunately. Now they're trying to work on that side.
All right, thank you guys for your thoughts. We're going to go straight back to the third map of the VG versus Wolves series, and it's going to be Mirage. Stuart Saw, back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Great analysis. I'm looking forward to this one. We're on to Mirage. Do you still hold your hat to Verygames in this one?
Yes. I do.
You do?
They are still the #1 team in the world. You can't go against the world's best. You just can't. Not with reason, anyways. You can go against them, but there's no reason to go against them.
Well, we'll see. I'm a man for, you know, excitement and something different. I want the neutral to see excitement, so I don't care as long as the score's 16-14. How about that?
I'm not saying who I'm rooting for. I'm saying who I'm predicting to win.
Well, I'm asking you who you're rooting for.
Verygames.
There you go. Winning to the end.
I want them to play NIP. That's what I'm in hoping for.
You want the grand final of all grand finals?
Well, I want the semifinal of all semifinals.
Right, of course. Right, so here we go. It's Copenhagen Wolves to lose their first man. Dupree goes in, bomb planted by the T's here as Verygames look to recover that site. There are 4 men coming around to make that 5 men coming around as They're caught somewhat unawares by a very quick Copenhagen Wolves entry, but they've recovered with 2 of their own kills. Sorry, make that only 1 of their own kills. The other was a team kill, whilst waffling. Verygames have added 2 more, though. Nico's going to have to go big. He's the last man with any health, and Fetish was the last man standing. And you know what I heard there after Verygames won that? I heard a cheer, a French cheer, the first time we've heard it.
In a while, haven't we?
No.
It's been a little quiet over there.
It's been silent over there.
Good job by Verygames. They're only losing 1 person. Fairly easy pistol round win in the end. Looks like Copenhagen Wolves will not go for the second round bye. They are going to be saving. And that's going to allow Verygames to finally get some much-needed momentum after that trashing that was the Inferno.
So, Verygames, talk us through Mirage first. Talk us through to anyone who's just joined us. Mirage, we're in a one map each. This decides everything. Why Mirage? Why do you think Verygames are just going to tip it for you and their kind of map favoritism on this one?
Well, I mean, it's actually these teams haven't played. Well, we'll just go over the round first.
We'll see Verygames stomp the incoming eco of Copenhagen Wolves. Only 1 frag return from them to the 4.
And we're back.
And
okay.
we're back.
So basically, this new version of Mirage hasn't been played all that much. So it's actually really hard to say who's better on it, because really, this map has not been played a whole lot yet. It's very new to the map rotation. It's been played for about a month in most tournaments. Maybe a little longer, maybe 2 months, but regardless. And Verygames have more experience on it in official matches. I'm not sure how it goes in practice, but if you're not sure, you go with the team that has more of everything. They have more skill, they have more teamwork, and they have more experience, and they have more routine.
So, Verygames, would you have rather, in a situation like this, would you rather start on CT, get a score on the board, rather be leading than chasing?
I actually tend to always prefer starting on CT side, just because you can force buy much more on T side. So if you start on a T side and get a rough start, you might wind up saving too much if you have a rough CT side later on. On T side, you can always force buy. So even if you get a rough start on CT side, you can just keep buying and buying and buying. So you're never out of it on a round where you only have money for a couple of pistols and armors. So basically, I feel like it's always easier to come back on the terrorist side. That's just my personal preference. And Mirage so far, based on what I've seen, seems like a terrorist favorite map, the new version of it. So that also bodes well for Verygames here, starting as counter-terrorists.
Who hope so to a frag there. MBK's going to have to go big. Device stops him from going too far, though. And Verygames down to just 2 men against 3. Bomb is in at B and planted, as will now spy Existence and Shocks. Do they fancy this, or are they going to leave it to the Danes? And that's exactly what they're going to do. Is it ever... Well, maybe not. They are pushing him with 1 player, but they've lost Shocks, and that'll be that. Is it ever too early to save your weapon?
I'm not sure. I feel like the B side on Mirage is kind of hard to retake, because there's just so many little corners that you have to clear. So if the opponents are not peeking you and actively challenging you, which could allow you to get an easy pick or 2, especially when you're down in numbers, sometimes it's better to just cut your losses short. I mean, if Shocks had saved his weapon as well, they'd be a lot better off going into this next round. But 1 weapon is better than nothing, and Verygames are still going to be on a buy round here.
There are the Verygames side, who have been, well, if we were talking about 30 minutes ago after Dust, we'd say they were in the form of their lives. After Inferno, much less so. We turn it around now here to Mirage for the conclusion of this epic quarterfinal. And we'll see what they've got to offer. They won the pistol and converted that out. Stopped in their tracks by a great B take from Copenhagen Wolves. And they've opened up the fragging here with 1, 2, 3. And Nico at the heart of everything. Nico and Dupree at the heart of everything good that Copenhagen Wolves have done. I'd take that back. Fetish has had a few big rounds.
Pretty much all of them have had a few good rounds by now. Zipnix has had a bunch of 4 kills. He was playing very well on Inferno.
All right, I take everything I've ever said back. Fine, it's fine.
Don't take everything back. You gotta leave something out on the table.
I tell you that Shocks had a very quiet Inferno as he has been down, and that leaves NBK, last man standing. He and his FAMAS going home together as Copenhagen Wolves get a 5-man win.
Yep, and that's gonna really hurt Verygames economically. They're gonna be saving now, and on the contrary, that's gonna allow Copenhagen Wolves, assuming they don't lose too many people on this anti-eco round, that's gonna allow them to build their bankroll, which is definitely going to help them going on later on in this half, as if they do start losing rounds, they're going to be able to buy a lot more times before they have to save.
2-2.
Yep.
Delicately poised. One map each. As the conclusion of day 2 of DreamHack Winter 2013 edges nearer. Fetish opens up the fragging onto MBK. It's Shocks that will spy device next. As he sees that grenade come flying past him. Existence is going to be pushing in himself as he looks to try and just close out. Get a peek. Is anyone there? Don't know whether he saw anything. Scream is going to be the man who spies him next. Existence now sees 2 players there. Didn't want to get in on any action. Just wanted to keep an eye. Just wanted to know how many players are in mid. And that's exactly what he saw. Now he's not going to be able to see anything. He's got a bullet in the face. Dupree's got it. And Copenhagen Wolves have got themselves 2 frags. Lost nothing again. And we'll see whether they're able to continue this push. It's going to be B that gets them in, and it should be Shocks who's looking down B, and he'll be the one seeing all the action. There he is round this corner, and there he was round that corner as Copenhagen Wolves. Calm, collected, and clean. That's what's been their motto here on this eco round. They don't want to lose any unnecessary frags. Exactly what you said, Lupus. Build some bank, and
That's what they're doing here.
that's exactly what they've done. As long as Scream isn't allowed to do too much damage, then they'll be happy as Larry. He picks himself up the first frag onto device and retreats back, but this is going to be 3-2 Copenhagen Wolves. Scream is going to make it expensive. He might get himself a second frag. No, Zipnix is going to stop that one in its tracks. So, 3-2. Money in the bank for Copenhagen Wolves. Safe round over for the CT side. Another buy round here in round 6. Delicately poised, and all to play for, and a huge crowd behind Verygames that I've just noticed.
Yeah, they've built quite a crowd. It's really too bad there's that artificial wall put up there right behind them, because there's a lot of people who would love to be standing there. 3-2 is the score in favor of Copenhagen Wolves, who did lose the piss round, but like I said, this is actually a Terry's favorite map, or so it seems in the little time it's been played competitively. So no reason to worry for Verygames. We're only 1/3 of the way in to this first half here. And a gun round for both teams. Full gun round for a change.
Here we go. Shocks has B locked down as he did before. Screams in on A. Separate out the 2 big gunmen. Dupree, who has been, as I said earlier, at the heart of everything good Copenhagen Wolves have done, really has brought some stylish play into this game and made this commentator's mouth very hoarse. As we see Verygames waiting. Copenhagen Wolves doing what they do best, patience. Look to try and feel out their opponent. Certainly something we didn't see them do on Dust, if I'm fair. Action coming now. Zipnix and Fetish share the frags. Verygames do get one back, but it's Copenhagen Wolves and Dupree who avenge with the frag onto Smiths. And Shocks isn't going to be able to get into that site. It leaves MBK 1 on 4. He had got the first frag, making it a 1 on 3. Bomb planted. He fires in towards that site, but doesn't stand much of a hope. And doesn't know that actually he's got a man coming from behind. Nico has eyes on him and delivers with that AWP.
That was a very simple round for Copenhagen Wolves. I mean, they just waited a little bit, attacked the A-bomb site, and they easily took out Verygames' defense. The A-bomb site is actually really hard to defend in this new version of the map, because some of the good spots that were there have been just taken away. And all those boxes in the middle of the site, they just really don't give a lot of good cover for the counter-terrorists. And that combined with the fact that you can smoke over the walls all the way from almost by T-spawn, or actually by T-spawn, really helps the terrorists in gaining control of that site. And Verygames once again on a save round that should put the Wolves, the Danes, up 5-2 early on.
That's 5 straight rounds if they get it.
And almost halfway through this first half here, on the 3rd and deciding map, where one of these teams will be sent packing.
And if Verygames were to be sent packing, that would be a headline and a half.
That it indeed would.
Ongoing second quarterfinal from this side of the map. Astana Dragons and Complexity have shared 1 map each and are now on to their 3rd. Zipnix gets himself the frag onto Existence. Shocks isn't going to get himself a bite at that Zipnix cherry as MBK pushes in and goes nowhere. Nico gets himself the frag. Scream, last man standing against 5. And one thing Verygames haven't been able to do here in the opening 6-7 rounds that we've seen, not maybe enough to write for them, but what they haven't done here that they did on Inferno and they did very well on Dust is make the eco rounds expensive for the opponent.
Yeah, that's also part to, or mostly to Copenhagen Wolves' credit. I mean, a lot of the time, if you play the anti-eco round perfectly, that pretty much should take out the other team. Like, they shouldn't have a chance if you don't make a mistake. You also, like, it's not enough for the team that's saving to play perfectly. The other team also has to make a mistake. Copenhagen Wolves made a mistake by overcommitting at long, way too together instead of scouting out the site first on Dust 2 when they lost that save round. From there on out, they've been playing a lot more safely, and that's why they've been so much more successful.
So 5-2 to the Copenhagen Wolves side, who edge towards that semi-final with a powerful start on their T side. But it can all change oh so quickly, as we will see Existence lying in wait. He will throw over the nade. Nico is going to make the push. Device is going to go there as well, and Copenhagen Wolves know that this is the round that they need to convert. If they convert this, then they really have the French on the rocks. That's got to be a cocktail somewhere.
It has to be one.
What's a French on the rocks? There's a question for you, Twitch chat. What is a French on the rocks?
Existence, nice, well-timed peek on Dupree. Zipnik's unable to answer. That's going to give Verygames an early 5-on-4 advantage in this round.
Smiths has the AWP. In fact, they're doubling up on the AWP. MBK as well has it. So Nico's going to have to play a very, very big round here for Copenhagen Wolves. He's going to have to be clearing out an AWP into a site and then allowing Copenhagen Wolves to come in. And then he's going to have to stop the rotation of the second AWP. But that's a lot of fragging to have to happen first. And with Fetish down, Verygames have themselves a two-man advantage here that they can kick themselves if they can't clean out because it'll be so expensive. As Jux is going to see some action. One frag. There's not going to be the second one. Zipnix gets it and does cost him some damage, but he clears out MBK like he wasn't standing there with an expensive or AWP trained on him. And Device now with the AWP at the back, misses his chance, jumps back up into the same place, has been flash, jumps on top of the van, lies in wait. Zipnix, frag number 3 for him. He's going to have to do this all on his own. Can Zipnix deliver an ace? He's got 4 of them. He's got 1 more coming from the back. This would be amazing if he can pull it off. Zipnix versus Scream, versus Smiths, and he does it! I do not believe it! Zipnix goes for 5, and that, my friend, is absolutely sensational.
That is sensational. I'll give you that. What a big round by Zipnix, who really stepped up his game on Inferno and has followed it up with another good performance so far. Topping the scoreboard with 12 kills and 3 deaths. More than, actually twice as much as Fetish, 3 times as many as everybody else on Copenhagen Wolves. It's been a one-man army so far on this deciding map. And once again, this map is going to send one of these teams packing. Things are looking good for Copenhagen Wolves. Verygames could potentially finish this tournament, or their tournament could end within the next 30 minutes.
And that was the replay of that ace. And I'd love to see that again and again. We have lost Existence for them as well. As I said, after they got the opening 2 frags, it was 5-on-3. They'd kick themselves if they didn't clear this one out. They had 2 AWPs in play. And well, that was what I call a French on the rocks.
And NBK is going to be the one seeing all the action here first. And he gets taken out by Fetish instantly.
MBK's gone silent. He had there's a picture on HLTV of his stats from Inferno. He had a great dust, and he's gone absolutely silent thereafter. And Copenhagen Wolves are going to get a bomb down. They're going to race here, unless it can be a phenomenal retake, which there isn't going to be. They pulled all the way back, and Scream's got no help to do this, and he will go out. This is going to be 7-2 Copenhagen Wolves. They're racing away with this, romping away with this.
It's starting to look somewhat worrisome for Verygames. I mean, even though it is a T-sided map, even though you can always come back on the terrorist side, you don't want to trail too much when your tournament life is on the line. You just don't. It's just not a good look on anyone. So, big deficit early on, well, somewhat big. I mean, we saw them come back from 2-10 all the way to 5-10, and the pistol round there could have given them a 2-0 win. It's 2-7 right now. It's not by any means out of their reach yet, but they just don't want to lose many more rounds. They need to get into the game.
MBK pushes up for Verygames. He needs to deliver for them here. It's a full 5 Famous buy. We've seen some hell of a Famous rounds in this game thus far. And we'll see whether the Copenhagen Wolves can add to that. Sorry, whether Verygames can add to that.
By the way, something that I just double-checked because I wanted to see just how Verygames have done on this map. Previously, they played it 3 times in matches that are in the HLTV database. Each time, their stronger side by far has been the counter-terrorist side. They got 10 rounds on Fnatic in Beijing. They got 12 rounds on Mystic in the ESWC Grand Final. And they got 12 rounds on Fnatic at ESWC. So they're actually a very good CT side team on this map, much more so than terrorist side. So that makes me extra worried for the French here.
MBK gets himself a frag. Fetish returns fire as we go to a 4-on-4. This match still reeling from that ace from Zipnix moments ago. 7-2 the score is about to become 8-2 unless Existence and Scream can retake this bomb site. And Device is going to see them all come charging out into the site now unless they decide to save. But they can't save much more. Device does see the first frag. Nico steals it off his toes, and Device goes jumping around the corner, drops Scream. Scream also very quiet. Verygames, very quiet.
That's a punt. Changed their name. Very quiet. And coincidentally, this was the map where they actually started yelling in the beginning and actually celebrating their Pisteron win. So it's gone a full 180 here in Jönköping, where Copenhagen Wolves have racked up 8 straight rounds on what seems to be the stronger side of the map for their opponents.
DreamHack does always bring out the best in gamers. Nico with that AWP had his opportunity, didn't take it. Dupree's going through this A site take. It's going to be tough. They've had a lot of success on the other side. Nico gets himself that AWP back onto Scream, shuts down the Danger Man, and Nico will try to get himself into a position for a second frag. They're all rotating quickly across. Bomb down. Zipnix had it and is gone. Zipnix did get himself a kill with his grenade after the fact. That was actually onto Device that it took out. It was his teammate he wiped out. And that leaves Nico now needing to deliver something quite spectacular to get his team out of this. Fetish is gone, and Nico and that AWP are going no further. Verygames on the board. It's 8-3.
And NBK with the triple kill there. Not so quiet anymore, is he?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it is what they needed anyways to get back into the game. They needed someone to step up. Now they've got NBK who's done that. It's their 3rd round, their first in 8 rounds.
And MBK has 9 frags this half. So as quiet as he was, as much as we reference the
He's more than twice as loud as any of his teammates.
Twice as many frags as well.
Yeah.
So let's see. Plenty of money in that Copenhagen bank, though.
Yeah, Denmark is doing well.
And Nico pushes in. Dupree's going to go through. He's going to make his way forward now towards that site. He has 2 players there at the back. Scream opens up with that M4, but they have just about got past the first entry point. So it's going to be Device who's got it. Scream out. Clean trade, though, and it's going to be Smith that makes it a little more dirty with his frag onto Nico. Fetish trying to watch over to see if anyone makes the jump. Bomb is planted, 3-man after plant, and the Copenhagen Wolves will just sit. Device is on the site, but Dupree is the man who can go big at any given moment. Device's headshot is dispatched of MBK. Smith is going to push in. We're on 3v3 after plant. Verygames can't afford to let this one go. And Shocks will lead that push forward. Clock ticks louder and louder. Smith and Dupree exchange frag after frag. There's Smith with the next, and that will be that. Verygames couldn't afford to let it go and didn't. And they picked themselves up their 4th round.
That could have been catastrophic if Verygames lost that 2v2 at the end. Smith's got 2 kills there at the very end, 3 kills total this round, so it was his turn to chime in. And Verygames slowly starting to get back into the game, but I actually am very worried for them as of right now. Ever since seeing that they've actually been so weak on the terrorist side of the new Mirage, it actually has me worried for them. They really need to get at least 6 rounds now, I feel like.
I don't like Copenhagen Wolves going into A. They seem to have a good thing going for them at B, seem to be clean. They seem to get into a really nice after-plant position as well. A is just so open.
Yeah, I think a part of that, though, is they probably also know Verygames figures that out. So then they need to counter that, because otherwise Verygames might be preparing something different over at B. So, you know, you always have to go back and forth. It's a mind game. And there's actually 2 very good leaders in the series, so that sort of thing goes on a whole lot more than whenever an NIP and Verygames play.
Lurpus playing the leader card. We've already had that leader's a hero, Lurpus. What more do you want?
Verygames to win. I want Verygames NIP. That's what I want.
Well, it's not looking likely for you at the moment.
No, sir, it is not.
MBK continues his fine form in recent rounds. Dupree's been dropped, and Verygames now have themselves a man advantage. It's going to be Device has got to get himself something here. Can't. Fetish goes down as a result of it, and Verygames are 2 men to the good. But we've seen Xyp9x turn this one around before. He has got himself a kill, but that'll be the end of him this round, and we're at a 4-on-2. Nico and Device, last 2 men standing. And Verygames have done well here, and they'll surely convert this to 8-5. NBK's pushed all the way up. He can see they've got clear eyesight on this round. That's what's made the big difference here. They have had a lot of eyesight. It's all on Nico, and he can't do it. 1 on 3.
NBK, by the way, another triple kill by NBK. He's really stepped up right now, and that is what Verygames needs. As a team, they're not doing so hot. They need their individuals to step in. And for the 3 past rounds they have, we'll see if they can continue here as Copenhagen Wolves still have enough money that they're not going to be saving this half.
We have 2 rounds left to go.
That we do, and this is the second last round, obviously. And Verygames, on the other hand, they don't have that much money. They can still buy, but they're not going to have full equipment in the final round if they were to lose this. So Copenhagen Wolves could still very easily finish this half with a 10-5 lead.
We know what they can do with that. As it all slows down once again. Existence will nade down as he looks just to poke. That's what he's looking to do there. He's the eyes and ears of this for Verygames. And he sees nothing in mid. There's nothing at B. The bomb has actually gone all the way up there. It's got reinforcements coming as well. But Copenhagen Wolves have sat back outside A, waiting for a push to come. And here it is. And the push is coming, and the push is firing. Smith's 2 frag dispatch of Dupree and Fetish. And Verygames now have an A site that's under fire, but it's not where the action's happening. NBK gets 1, NBK gets 2, and has won the round for Verygames. Yes, Xyp9x is alive. Yes, he can go 1 on 5, but he's not going to this time. And Copenhagen Wolves have 1 shot. Whilst all of the action was in A, NBK could have got caught napping, but he didn't. And Xyp9x, I said he couldn't do it. He's only gone and got himself 2 headshots. He's got 13 points of health left. But there's no way.
He's not going to do it, but just getting guns away from Verygames is already hurtful enough. They really don't want to lose that 3rd weapon, and that's just a really bad decision by Verygames.
3 frags for him. Good play. Take your hand off to him there. Round of applause down on the floor. I don't think that was for. I don't think it was for our game.
Don't think so. Copenhagen Wolves actually had so much money that whether Xyp9x survived or not made no difference. So that was a big mistake by Verygames running after them, because now all of their players, I don't think, have full equipment. I think some of them are missing something, at least a couple nades here and there. You know, it's not Smith is missing something at least, so it might not make a difference, but it could. So why risk it?
It might not, but it could. Covering all the bases.
All I'm saying, there's nothing to gain. You can only lose.
8-6 in favor of Copenhagen Wolves. All to play for here. They raced into an 8-2 lead. Subsequently have lost 4 straight rounds to Copenhagen Wolves. Xyp9x has shouldered the majority of the burden for the Danes. Shox has pushed up a long way as he has got 3 players down on the bottom here. And we've seen Shox be nullified here. But can he get out this time? Definitely been spotted, definitely retreating. And will get out of the action. Over at B, we see Existence again getting a big frag. Nico goes down. Xyp9x is out. And there's the danger man for Copenhagen Wolves. And Verygames have got 3 frags, make that 4. And now Device will go this alone. He's dropped Scream, but he has no friends left alive.
Yeah, it's a 1 versus 4 situation that's surely going to be ending any second now, and that's Existence getting the final kill there. 8-7 in favor of Copenhagen Wolves.
It wasn't what it was, though.
Yeah, it wasn't what it was, but considering Verygames' history of really struggling on the terrorist side, I still think Copenhagen Wolves are favorites as of right now.
Why don't you give us a score update from the complexity game? We've just heard some big cheers from that. They are also in the 3rd map, but you're where all the fun is. You're the beautiful people watching this stream. We know that. And we can tell you that
gotta give the people what they want.
Gotta give the people what they want.
What they want is a score update, and I'm going to wait until the end of this round.
We know who it goes
to confirm that it's Complexity who is winning that round thanks to a kill in a 1v1 situation by Swag. Complexity up 7-6 on the terrorist side of Inferno, and I saw earlier they were trailing 5-0. So they've really turned this ship around.
Not easy to turn a ship around, ladies and gentlemen.
Ships turn very slowly.
We both wagged our fingers there. That's worrying. We've hit a new low here.
I know.
But let's get back
And
to the action.
that takes some limbo in to get there.
That's the worst joke I've ever heard. I've come up with. In the
The
years I've
lowest
been
low
doing
is
this,
fairly low.
in all the years I've done this, I've been making crap jokes for a living. And I've just heard the worst one from Lurpus there.
Worst, hold on.
Take a bow,
Worst
son.
one from me or worst one
period,
combined?
from any
Oh.
caster ever.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Well, let's get back into the game. 8-7. From Verygames' perspective, they turned the ship around, which we've already learned is not that easy. But can they continue on here? Is there momentum on the Verygames side to race through here?
There's a momentum here, but ultimately it's just going to come down to who plays better. This pistol round is going to decide a lot. If Verygames win the pistol round, all of a sudden they could be looking at a 10-8 lead, which obviously is going to change how this match looks a lot. On the other hand, if Zipnix and company get the pistol round, they could go up to 10-7 and have the money advantage and play on the easier side. So this really is as close as it could possibly be, I would say, at this point.
8-7 the score. Copenhagen Wolves lead by 1. It is a narrow lead. But Copenhagen Wolves have done a good job thus far on the pistol rounds. Fetish will lead the assault. Verygames got 2 players who just barely moved. They want to show nothing away here as they move the bomb slightly in the direction of B. And it'll be Fetish to push around. He's going to jump up top. Will wipe out the destructible and holds back. Copenhagen Wolves with no information. They haven't been able to make any decisions here. The Verygames side have shown nothing. They've peaked nowhere. And they've used some time up. We'll see whether that comes back to haunt them.
Device has the golden gun. He has named his, well, somewhat golden-looking pistol the golden gun. See if he's able to get any kills with it, as Verygames is going to start their push now here.
Here we go, in towards the A site come the Frenchman. Dupree opens up, headshot 1. Can he get number 2? No, MBK shows him how it's done. Double headshot, Nico and Dupree both out for the count. And Verygames have cleaned out A, but the bomb's going B, and Zipnix is going to see action. Zipnix is going to see nothing. He's going to die before he worked out what happened to him. Fetish is going to get himself a frag onto MBK, but they know the bomb's gone down elsewhere. It's a 2-on-3 after block here at B, and Fetish will run one side. It's going to be Device coming in for the Cafe side, and as he pushes forward now, he's got one side to make it. Levels it up to 2v2. Device's headshot onto Smiths is big, but Fetish is going to have to go it alone. Can he lead his side out of this one? The bomb ticks louder and louder, and the bullets rain harder and harder. And he's not going to get himself out of that. It's 8-all. Verygames have just about restored order.
They have indeed restored order, but for how long, we don't know. Good play nonetheless. NBK got 2. That second flick shot was very impressive and really important entry kills there by NBK, who has really been Verygames' star. I think from the second you called him out, it seemed like NBK just really stepped up as COL celebrate their 9th round win. So they win 9 of the last 10 rounds on the terrorist side of Inferno.
I'd like to point out, I didn't call out MBK. There's a thread on
The
your
good people
website.
over at angeltv.org called out NBK, but you pointed it out live on
I
air.
pointed it out because I read that site because the people on that site are some of the best. Not the writers, just the
I was
people
going
who
to say,
read it.
especially the writers.
Well, some of them.
There's one good guy. Nickname starts with an L.
Yeah,
7 letters.
Hope they bring back Nixon. As Smith gets himself a frag onto Nico, and Verygames close out their pistol round conversion. And a big shout, actually, this time not from Semphis. Most of the shouts we hear from there are coming from him, but it was Verygames showing a little bit of emotion. And Corey Dunn showing a lot of emotion on the other side.
Yeah,
as
it
America
might
has
just be
themselves
Corey
a lead.
Dunn yelling at this point. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
But let's focus on this. 9-8. All to play for here. Zipnix has the individual talent to turn something around, but a CT side saving, which will be closed out here, makes that next gun round vital for the Copenhagen Wolves. They'll be under all sorts of pressure if they can't pull it off. Fetish shows this team how it's done. 2 frags, Smiths and MBK down. MBK, the 4th player here on Mirage, down. And let's see what they can do with that. They've lost a lot of health on all of those players. They've lost one of them. It's Fetish that goes down, but his teammates need to step up for him now. Verygames pull that bomb all the way back round through T-spawn. And there is one man out there, out in the deep. It's Dupree. And Dupree's capable of something. He's going to have one coming from above him, though.
We'll see if Shox is going to clear this spot.
There's Dupree, frag number 1, gets it. Shox does clear the spot out, but a little too late. And they maintain a man advantage. And it'll be Shox who comes round. There's only, well, there's plenty of time left as they move that bomb in towards B. Who's going to see them next? It's Zipnix, the man that can, as the other players will come around towards B now. Zipnix gets frag number 1, can't get the second frag, it's all on Shox, 1 on 2, and they have picked up a weapon. Nico has an AK, Device is in there, may try and stop him. Device makes his way around the corner, Shox decides he can't go for it, and will do the dance one more time. Here we go, Shox does well. Good job from Device there, saving off that plant, and allowing Nico to come around and win the round for Copenhagen Games. They're back in business, and it's 9-9.
That's a monumental mistake by Verygames, allowing Fetish to get those 2 kills by T-Ramp. Some missed shots there, and just a little bit of unlucky timing maybe. Well, that was a big missed shot.
There are the 2
that
you were talking about.
A bit of an unlucky timing here, because had Scream just waited half a second more, Dupree would have been taken out by Shox, who was right above him, and that could have made all the difference.
But, you know, in honor of Thorin, I'm going to quote Michael Jordan. It's not about the shots you take, it's about the shots you miss. Don't know where I'm really going with that, but I just thought you had to throw that one out there as I battle you for the worst joke ever said on stream. But the Copenhagen Wolves side are more than capable of taking those shots, and if you give them the opportunity, they will. And they've proved that they're man for man capable of fighting this Verygames side. And maybe not man for man, maybe it's the teamwork that's had a big factor in this. We've seen single players going very big for Verygames, but we've not necessarily seen a team effort that's shocked an order. See a headshot from Scream that
opens up the round, and that's a 2nd kill by Scream, who seems to be heating up a little bit here, and that's something Copenhagen Wolves don't want. They don't want Scream heating up, because we know what happens when the Belgian is hot.
Bad things happen when Scream gets hot.
And those 2 headshots by Verygames around as Copenhagen Wolves retreat all the way back towards the terror respawn in an attempt to save those weapons they currently have. If they are able to save them, they'll easily be able to buy next round, so that's a very good call by the Danes to not try to go for a 3v5 that they are very, very, very unlikely to win.
So in your thoughts here, who can decide this map? We've got 10 rounds left after this one. Verygames could extend into a 10-9 lead. Who are the players that we should be watching?
Well, Scream and NBK, I'm going to throw Scream out there just because he's just got those shots and he might be heating up. NBK really has been the hottest player for Verygames. For Copenhagen Wolves, Zipnix, I think, has been the number one driving force so far on Mirage.
He won a round all on his own earlier on.
And a huge round at that.
A huge round. He kept the Verygames side at bay, stopped them from turning the tide. And we'll see. So Zipnix, no pressure. As we're on board with Existence, who pushes in now. We switch over to Scream, who Lurpus just called out. Nico has got himself the AWP for his troubles. And barring one FAMAS, they've managed to scurry together a pretty reputable defense. Zipnik's going to see some action here on B, I think, as the bomb actually pulls back. He saw a smoke and they retreat that bomb back. Frags a piece, MBK and Device exchange. And with MBK down, it is going to need Scream to go big. As we switch over to him now. He's been flashed, but he'll push on through as it's going to be Scream to find, Smiths to find that first frag, and Fetish will go down. Existence is going to follow up on the Device, and now Nico and Zipnix have got to go huge. They need 2 frags apiece, and they won't get either of them. Zipnix is out, and now it's all on Nico as the bomb goes down on B. Nico's just going to hold on to that AWP at A, and B seems to be a very attackable site.
So far, it seems so. Verygames have had Copenhagen Wolves numbers there. After, well, to be fair, they haven't really even tested their A away from the pistol round. But so far, Copenhagen Wolves, their defense just not really matching up to Verygames, though I do think big part of as Existence takes out Nico's up, that's a big loss for the Danes because they don't get to keep that out for the next round. I actually think Copenhagen Wolves have sort of lost these rounds in the way that they've done aggressive things that have allowed Verygames to get picks.
Well, you can see the pressure mounting. It's 10-9. Sorry, now it's 11-9. These are the highlights from that one. Nico's exit frag here, good, but then they nade him, and he decides to stay around. And that forces a CT save, and that should allow Verygames to race away into a 3-round cushion if they convert this.
Yep. And that's a cushion they're really very much going to enjoy having after trailing throughout most of Mirage. And even during Inferno, I mean, they really haven't had a lead on a map in something crazy like 40 rounds before now. So it's got to feel good, build some cushion like you said. But they've already lost one save round this half, so they really can't take any rounds off.
We've seen some crazy
who would?
things.
There's only 10 rounds left, and the winner of this match is going to be guaranteed $22,000.
Every frag counts. Has a cash value associated to it at this point.
Yep. With an option for up to 100K, so a lot at stake here.
Zipnix will slowly make his way around. MBK has looked to see whether anyone's peeking on any corner and hasn't been able to get in on the action. One man down for Copenhagen Wolves that we didn't comment on was Device. Nico's now joined him. Smith is going to get himself frag number 3 as Fetish is out, and Zipnix and Dupree, last 2 up for them. Dupree's not got much health, not going to get any damage, and now it's all on Zipnix, and I don't like his chances as the bomb has been planted. Has got himself a small chance, but that's been wiped out. And there you go, 12-9. The cushion is there. It's made of double down pillows, and it's real. But an AWP been picked up here. They're ready to go. And this is we say it every time there's a buy round. It's rinse and repeat every time. This is a vital round.
This is a very vital round. If Copenhagen Wolves lose this round, they're going to have to save again, which should put Verygames up 14-9. So Verygames, they can afford to lose this round. They have tons of money now on the bank. But Copenhagen Wolves, for them, it's extremely important to win this round.
They need this first frag. They need to set the agenda. Nico, just as he fell back, was going to have some players coming towards him, and probably a wise move in the end. He's got 2-3 players looking like they want an A push. They're not going to take it. They're going to make their way around. And Fetish, oh, just as he turns away, he had a player dancing. How was the bomb carrier? And Fetish dispatches of them well. Fetish, when Copenhagen Wolves need him, comes up big. Device is out, though. It's not clean for Copenhagen Wolves yet. Fetish still in that position. Doesn't want to take out the Destructible because they'll know where he is. And now will shoot through it to get himself his 3rd frag of the round. Existence goes down, and Verygames looking a little bit shaky on this round. 4-on-2. Nico makes that 4-on-1. Shocks out, and this could be clean. They need MBK nice and easily, and that'll allow them to save just a little bit of money here. As we want to switch over to MBK, but we can't. We're going to look at Dupree. Zipnix. Let's see what MBK's got to offer, Mr. Cameraman. Here he is. Makes his way in towards the house, up towards A. He has got a player just on the other side there.
Yeah, MBK's goal will not be to win this round because it's fairly unrealistic at this point. He only wants to get 1 or 2 kills.
And I don't think he's even going to do that.
Looks like he's not. 1 or 2 more kills would have really helped them out in the next round. So I probably would have taken the risk and seen if I could just get a little lucky there, score 1 or 2. But it's understandable to also save that gun because it's really hard in a 1v4 where they're likely to be holding all the spots around the map.
We played the violin for the leader. This is why. Fetish delivering when his team needed him the absolute most. And as he peeks through here, he's going to see Existence come out, and he gets himself the kill. That's what you needed from your leader at that moment in time.
Yep, a nice triple kill by Fetish. And like you said, stepping up at the right time. Copenhagen Wolves needed an individual effort of their own after Verygames basically lived through them in the first half. So getting closer, two rounds.
2 rounds to cushion. Someone's punched a few feathers out of it. Verygames have been in these situations before. Their experience is going to count big here. They've been in many big tournaments through both Go and Source. They know when the pressure's on them. Nico will hold back. Verygames offer nothing. Interesting chat line we saw from Verygames a few rounds ago. Stop making me nervous, they said. They've been rattled by the Danes. Now we'll spy a flash coming in. Device answers up with his nade of his own. Verygames quickly rotate round. They pick up the bomb and they're going to make a quick push through T-spawn and try and go all the way up towards B. There are 2 players there for them who don't know what's coming their way. Still 2 players going to try and make noise at A as well. And Zipnix is... This position is almost undefendable thus far from what we've seen. No player's been able to hold players at bay up in that alleyway, but we'll see whether this is the time when they can. Scream gets himself a frag onto Device, and that's going to force a rotation, is it? No. Zipnix holds the fort. He's in on that side, gets himself frag number 1. Fetish gets number 2 onto Existence, and this may just give them a chance. 3 versus 3 in the B bomb site as they go for it now. Zipnix is going to wait for MBK to come this way and does a lot of damage, helped out by Nico just at the time he needed him. Smith is going to pick up the bomb and going to get dropped. Copenhagen Wolves are going to get this round unless Scream can do something unbelievable here.
And Scream is just far too late on trying to come help there. He really should have just risked it and ran more to try to get there on time. I understand being aware of Copenhagen Wolves possibly being too close and hearing him, so he wanted to just play it safe. And had his teammates been able to get that kill, he would have really been able to secure that round easily. But a little risk there. Verygames still enough money to buy this round.
Next round as well for Copenhagen Wolves.
Next round as well, but it's getting close once more. Very close.
And we'll spy Zipnix, who had a great round defending B there. Nico gets himself the frag onto Existence, and Copenhagen Wolves may finally be able to breathe a short sigh of relief here. As Dupree will push in a nade. He holds back. It's going to be Zipnix now all the way over at A. They've only got 1 man at B. They gambled. Bomb hasn't moved either way, as Dupree is in the middle there. MBK gets himself the frag onto Nico. And Dupree is going to see action here as the bomb is rotated background through T-spawn. Verygames just trying to create an opening for themselves here at A. Can't see anything, and that's probably a good move from Copenhagen Wolves. Show nothing, give nothing away. As the bomb is now going to move in towards A, and the remaining 3 Wolves are going to have to come back through here. No frag since Nico's opening AWP, and he's out. Fetish to go large once more. Nade over towards the back, lands on the noggin of Smiths, and here we go. Fetish is going to have to go for it again. It's going to be Zipnix at the back of the A bomb site once more. The bomb's going to go down as well. Shocks gets the frag that Copenhagen Wolves didn't need. Dupree's going to go forward here, gets himself 1 more, and here we go. It's Yumi and Dupree as he goes up into the site. He's going to get himself just can't get the kill, and in the end exposes himself on the top of those stairs, and they pick him apart. And Verygames show how hard this is as they show a little bit of emotion and they give us something. Look at the French cheers of Into the Valley of Death They Ride. I'm trying to think of something good in French.
Yeah, 13-11, Verygames. Copenhagen Wolves on the brink of bankruptcy here. They're going to be saving if they lose this round. So far, so good, though. Nico still has that AWP. He really hasn't been too effective with it so far in Mirage. Verygames have done a very good job of avoiding him.
They have. We need a big round from him. They've all gone all in on the idea that he with that AWP can give them a good round. And we see the opening frag of the game of the round going to Nico. Existence is out. That happened last round, though. He got the opening frag. It was Existence last time out as well, and they still lost. Zipnix going to have all sorts of action with that FAMAS. Somehow he's still alive. He doesn't know where he's shooting, and he gets 1 before going down to Smith. Nico comes around, gets himself a second frag. Good job, Nico. Can he make it frag number 3? Ow, that was his chance. And he'll reset to calm once more. Scream picks off Dupree, and Fetish can't help Nico out. And Nico's going to have to do this with just Device, with no weapon to help him out. We're at a 2-on-2 here. Those last 2 frags huge to pull Verygames right back into the ascendancy. Nico will wait. I don't see Scream coming around that corner. He feels safe. He knows where Nico is. Device is slowly making his way around that side. There's Nico's opportunity, and he didn't take it. He had 2 shots to shut down Scream, and he didn't. Device 1-on-2, can't get that bomb defused either, should get out of there, and does. And Copenhagen Wolves had a real opportunity in that round, but they're going to be facing 14-11 now.
They did indeed, but the 2 superstars of Verygames were able to convert that 2v3 situation in the B bomb site into a round win, and what a big win for Verygames there. 14-11 now in the 3rd and deciding map. of the quarterfinal here at DreamHack Winter.
This was Nico. He got himself the first, but this was the frag he needed to have. And he didn't connect on it then on the screen, and then he didn't hit the second one, and it cost him his life. And Nico, we're being harsh, because at this stage of the game, every shot counts double.
Yeah, and that shot, like you said, that shot probably made, that was the shot that could have made or broken that round, and he broke it.
Poor guy. 30,000 people saw it.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you're playing at these stages of such tournaments. It's going to be lots of people watching. All the pressure is going to be on. You just got to perform.
Pushing in towards that A site, they wipe out the Copenhagen Wolves defense. One gun's in there. Zipnix has picked off Scream. It's Device who's got it. Let's see where Zipnix is. He's down. Device is rotating across, but he is all on his lonesome. There's not even much point making it expensive at this point. It's going to be 15-11. We're going to have 4 match points. Copenhagen Wolves are going to have to dig as deep as they can. They've given us a great game.
Yeah, they've given us a great series, not just this map that you were referring to, as I understand.
Referring to game.
Yes, I know. The sleep deprivation is starting to get to me slowly. Copenhagen Wolves are in a very tough spot. They won't have much money at all going into the last round. Actually, take that back. They actually saved quite a bit of money this round. I thought they would buy a little more aggressively, but luckily for them, Device able to save that weapon from the previous round and carry that over past the save round by the rest of the squad. 4 rounds to go. Copenhagen Wolves, do you have money to buy? My mistake. They need all 4 just to force overtime.
I'm going to tell you something. I want Copenhagen Wolves to do it. You put your money on Verygames. You want to see Verygames, Nep. I want the underdog. I want Copenhagen Wolves, who gave us an ace, who got that sensational out there, to pull something out for this. Or at least to pull us to overtime.
I'd like to see overtime, but ultimately I'd like to see Verygames take on NIP tomorrow.
Let's see what they can do. The Danes have come a long, long way.
But still such a long way to go. Nico looking for a pick there in the connector area, but Verygames just so far back. Just look how passive Verygames are playing. They don't want to take any unnecessary risks. They want to wait for a potential push all around the map. Then they're probably going to group up somewhere, attack a bomb site, and hope that's good for their 16th round.
A lot of nades used up from Copenhagen Wolves already as well. And that's part of this plan. 3 flashes and an HE left as Fetish will push round through B, and he'll be signaling the all clear. What's interesting here, though, is they have left someone deep in B, despite Fetish going long. And this is going to be a push coming in towards A any second now, and they need those players to get over towards A quickly, because Verygames are coming, and Verygames are coming with guns, and they're going to get 2 big frags. It's going to be Fetish 1, Fetish 2, Fetish 3. Oh, yes! That's what they needed! They got their hero, and he's turned the round around as Nico's going to come in with the AWP from the back. It's a 2 versus 2 to save the Wolves. Oh, Nico's missed! That was his opportunity. Nico doesn't miss again, though. And it's 2-on-1. Misses there. Zipnix will get the frag. And Copenhagen Wolves live to howl another round.
What a big play by Fetish. That really looked like we were going to see Copenhagen Wolves knocked out of the tournament there, and their in-game leader just stepped in, got those 3 kills. Nico missed an easy shot there that looked like that was going to cost them the tournament, but he made up for it by killing the second player there, and his teammate took care of the final member. That was Smits. 3 more rounds to go, and we could be looking at a potential overtime.
You're calling it. You're putting that Lopez Esports Fund on overtime.
No, I'm not putting my esports fund on overtime, but we could be headed there.
Come on. Complexity of 14-10 up in the other game. But this is where you want to be. With Dupree. He will bounce a nade down. Fetish fires in towards the smoke. No one down there for him. A man you feel is going to have to deliver something very, very big for Copenhagen Wolves. As they push in now. Smith looks for where Fetish was. We switch over towards Scream, who started to warm up earlier on. He will lead the push round towards that B site. And it's the AWP from Nico that does take down Scream. And we've seen what happens when he misses. But now he delivers the big hit onto Scream. And this is what Copenhagen Wolves needed. They took out one of the big danger men. If they can follow it up, well, they lose Dupree, they lose 2 more. Fetish
What
and
a
Device both go
turnaround there.
down. Verygames have 3, and Copenhagen Wolves have just 2 players left standing. It's all on Nico and Zipnix to save this. The bombs with Shox as he pushes in now, and he will wait. Nico has to hit this shot. He's going to come across. He hits it! Can you believe it? Shox down. Nico go for one more. Oh! And Zipnix will go through, but big hit from Nico. They don't really have much sight on that A-bomb site. They don't have any sight on that A-bomb site, but they know that Zipnix in there. He took a bit of damage, but he's still standing, and he'll push through. Zipnix is out. It's all on Nico as he looks to hold Copenhagen Wolves in this tournament. He dances back. He's got just Smiths on 27 points of health. He's going to move in now. Can't see him. Looks for the Frenchman. Has a guess. He's going to try and bait him out with the defuse and pushes around the corner. Oh, Smiths gets it! The romance is over. The French have gone through. They will face NIP tomorrow. But Copenhagen Wolves gave us a hell of a game, gave us a lot of excitement, and have just fallen at the final hurdle. Lupus, your closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts, very good series. Much closer one than I originally expected, I guess, but very good series. 2 great Counter-Strike teams going head-to-head. Took all the 3 maps, very back and forth, in fact. And what can I say? Tomorrow's going to be, like, this tournament keeps getting better and better. Yesterday was good. Today morning was great. Now it's getting better, and the best day is yet to come.
The best day is yet